All right, welcome to the Sae Bae cast, number 145 with One False Step, or Adam, as
Oh,
I'll call you. Adam, how you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you.
It's been a while since I've talked with you. I mean, we've never talked in person, but I remember watching your stream way back, and
Yeah,
obviously, I believe you were in Hard Game CC in the early days. Was that correct?
yeah, I think that's how we initially met.
Yeah, I think so. I still think back to those days, and I'm like, those were seriously like the best RuneScape memories, in my opinion. Just like first time ever playing an Iron Man. It was a hardcore, obviously, so it's like a fresh start to everything, and it's something about that period of like late 2016, early 2017. Just I don't know. I have good memories on those days. I don't know about you, like just release of hardcore.
Yeah, I was really motivated to play around that time. I mean, it's like when I really started taking the game a bit more seriously. Yeah, I remember a lot of the big names like we remember from hardcore were playing and a member of Hard Game back then.
Yeah,
Uh,
who
so yeah, it was a big thing.
I remember like okay, so who of those people in Hard Game are still like around actually like playing a lot? Because I
There's not many who are still active. Like definitely not as hardcore anyway. But like even like front page iron though, some of those guys were hard game members back in the day, like Gliss.
oh yeah,
Um,
likely drunk, right? Was that his
yeah,
name back then?
that's what he went by back
Yeah,
then.
yeah,
I think maybe Steve Skillop, was he a member of that? He was definitely hardcore, but I don't know if he was part of hard game.
yeah. I can't remember exactly because Stee always. I remember seeing Stee on like rooftops and stuff way back. I remember particularly he was running Relica rooftops, and I remember seeing his name. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I can't.
Tails.
Who
Tails, I
was he
think he
in
was
Hard
a member
Game?
of Hard Game.
Okay.
He was nearly hardcore, and like some of the other Australian gang. I mean, Gliss is Australian, I think, and then there's Nex. Um, there were some
Was
others like Crystal Farm and Mickey who are still like high up in the high scores, but not so active anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah,
those
I think
names. I
these
mean,
these guys were early hard game members. Yeah.
yeah, that was who started that clan, by the way. Do you know?
Um, if I remember right, I think like maybe Miwi and Umea were like the generals, but I'm not sure.
Okay. And Miwi was he was like the one of the first ever hardcores to pull a Tebow, right? I swear he got that thing
Yeah,
like
he
day
he, he had the
one or
very
something.
first one. Yeah.
Holy
Yeah.
shit!
And he was streaming, and that definitely brought a lot of attention to him, I think.
Yeah. And then I remember you pulled a Tebow quite early as well. I can't remember exactly how long after release.
Yeah, it was fairly early, but still kind of like hardcore mode launched. It was November of 2016, and I think the first raids, Chambers Zerek, launched January 2017,
Hmm.
and it wasn't until I think it was September of that year that I got my Chiba.
Oh, okay. For some reason,
So
it just seems
yeah,
you were still
there
one of the
went.
first though for hardcores. It seemed like.
Yeah, I believe I was the second one.
Oh
So
wow.
really, there just weren't that many hardcores raiding that early. I guess there weren't many that had progressed their account sufficiently enough, or maybe there wasn't so much hype or interest with it. I don't know, but yeah, I can remember being one of the early guys who were raiding in like small teams with other maybe less geared, less leveled hardcores, and I mean they weren't like super efficient raids or anything. Nothing like you have these days
Oh
with
yeah.
running the home head or any of these like modern strategies. We were just doing it super scuffed,
Yep.
and but it was good fun, and we it was a good community thing with the other hardcore gamers.
Yeah, that was really. I remember like particularly. I never really saw you as a PVMer, and I don't think you ever saw yourself as a PVMer. So you having that Tebow was just. I just remember you would like run around skilling with your Tebow in your hand because why not? You know, like.
Yeah, the only PVM I did really was James and Zarek. I mean, I remember doing a few and kind of getting hooked on it, and then yeah, I streamed a lot of that during 2017, and was enjoying that quite a bit. I haven't really done any PVM before that, or haven't done much since.
So
But yeah, that was really enjoyable.
yeah, let's get a brief history. I'm actually unaware of your full history with the hardcore game mode because you still go by OneFalseStep on your account, but it's not the same account.
No, so yeah, I've gone through two accounts. So the first one obviously started the very start of Hardcore Iron Man game mode in November of 2016, and then I played that one through to November of 2018 when that one perished in the volcanic mine.
Yeah,
I guess
we'll
we might
definitely
get onto
hear.
that
I
later.
want to hear about that story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I played that account as an Iron Man from 2018 to early 2021. And then there was an unfortunate phishing incident, and the whole account got wiped. So I decided to start another hardcore. I kind of already started it. It was like very very early stages. I played it along the side of the iron. I'd basically just done like very early game and leveled up some combat stats at the Ammonite crabs. So I picked that back up, and yeah, I've been playing that for the last nearly 3 years now. Yeah, that account.
Okay.
So that's
And
the current account, which I've put the old name onto this account. So two accounts with the same name, but yeah.
okay. And I'm just looking you up on my end, up on screen for those watching on YouTube. You are almost top page hardcore already on your third hardcore. So
Yeah.
rank 27. When do you expect to get top page?
Well, this is only the second hardcore. Well, I did have like one that lasted like a day, but
Oh, I see. So this is so what was the account that died in 2021?
no, that was just the account that got fished, and I lost
Yeah, that
everything
one
and just
didn't.
decided to start again. Yeah.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Because you were just playing the dead hardcore up until that point.
Yeah, that was the iron that I played that I did like 40,000 Vorkath kills.
Okay, that makes more sense. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, so this is the second hardcore. And you were playing. When did this account start? You said this one started about 3 years ago?
I started playing it like properly, like it was the main account I was playing in the beginning of 2021, just after I stopped playing the other account
Okay.
because of the fishing thing.
Now,
And yeah, go ahead.
okay. Well, let me ask. When you died on your first hardcore, did it feel the
Yeah.
same to continue playing that account, or did you kind of lose a little bit of that fire not being a hardcore?
It definitely upset me a bit. I mean, it didn't really demotivate me to play. I was still enjoying it. It kind of opened up more stuff for me. Obviously, I went on and like straight away just did 40,000 Vorkath while slaying, which is something that's kind of unrealistic to achieve in hardcore. So
Yeah.
it did kind of open things up for me, and I was kind of feeling a bit burnt actually of doing Slayer on the hardcore because it's so restrictive with obviously you've got to well back then you had to slay like hugely differently just because the prayer XP you get from Slayer is way less. So you kind of got to do a lot of dragon tasks and like a wholly different task list just to make up for it, and it's like way slower on the XP an hour. So yeah, having the freedom to kind of train the way that all the other irons were training was nice, and I quite enjoyed doing Vorkath. I found it quite chill and easy, and like the loot from it was so overpowered for the time.
It's still overpowered. Like it's obviously it's a little bit more balanced because there's just way more. There's just more busted things. But I was killing Vorkath the other day, just messing around, and I'm like, this is like who decides these drop tables? I swear to God, they're just so ridiculous. Especially
Yeah,
for 20. When did it come out? 2018, 2019, I think. No, 2019 was Vorkath.
I think it was the 20 start of 2018
Oh,
because
20. Oh
yeah,
my
yeah,
God.
with Dragon Slayer too.
5 years ago, we had that busted of a loot table, and it was even more busted the week
Com-
of release.
yeah, I mean it used to drop. I think almost for the first full year, it was dropping uh, birds nests. Like you could get a roll of I think it was like 10 to 30 birds nests or something like
Oh
that.
my
So that
God,
was kind of huge.
that's nuts. It's
Yeah, that's coming up to 6 years now. It'll be 6 years in a couple of weeks, a couple of months.
yeah, that's insane. I think back to like the really early days. Like I remember like early irons have always been punished for playing early, basically. Like just the game progresses, and one of the most like
Yeah,
memorable in my opinion was like the burnout of Lelador. And I think, there's probably other factors to this, obviously, but him having sent, him being rank 1 prayer at like 30 mil and then having the Chaos Salter drop. It's just like
yeah. I still believe that's the most broken update that's ever been put into the game. Well, at least from an Iron Man perspective.
it's very busted. I was against it since day one. I just thought it was the most absurd, pointless private
Yeah,
server stuff ever. But here we are. I mean, they've made a ton of different prayer changes since then, but a lot of them, like, yes, it's sped up prayer, but they at least make sense in some way. Like ashes, it makes sense that other monsters should drop something other than bones, although it is breaking the
yeah.
meta. I'm not necessarily against that.
Although back in the times of like 2016, 2017, killing Necrials was like the biggest, like the best task anyway, just because of all the herb seeds and obviously the money as well.
Hmm.
But now you get the prayer XP on top of all that, so it's kind of
Yeah,
pretty big. Like you can't really avoid doing that task.
yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I understand the well. First of all, Necreal's drop tables are just busted in the first place. That update when they buffed gargoyles and Necreals, I think they might have just overtuned it slightly. There seemed to be like some pressure on Jagex's end to just make Slayer extremely profitable. I guess because that was the most popular skill, so they wanted to make it even more popular. Can't
Yeah,
fully remember why they did that, and I don't believe it was polled. I think it was just quality of life or like
I don't think I
integrity
was
or something.
even playing actively back when that happened. It was definitely before the start of the hardcore game mode, I think.
Yeah, it was
I,
slightly
I,
before, I believe. I think it was
I kind of
2016.
remember getting to 80 Slayer and starting to kill Necrials and then realizing, wow, these are kind of busted, just getting like two herb seed rolls every time.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. And then, of course, Farming Guild is another really busted update that just
Oh yeah,
completely
it was crazy
changed.
when it started. The amount of Eric seeds it spat out was insane. I
And
mean, that's been brought into line a bit more now.
and Snapegrass seeds. I regret not having done a bunch of contracts in the early days. I basically resisted the Farming Guild because I was on my PVM arc. And then as soon as they nerfed it, I was like, oh, okay, I want to get back into farming. And now it gives absolutely no snap or
Yeah,
Snapegrass seeds, which is
and
unfortunate.
the farming high scores for like iron and hardcore went totally crazy after that. Everyone just getting unlimited amount of tree seeds, fruit seeds, and getting so much XP from contracts themselves.
Yeah, I'm just gonna bring back Lelador into this picture again because I remember some rambles where he had to start farming willows because he just didn't have enough seeds to
Yeah,
upkeep. That's just
I think
unheard
I
of
think
now.
yeah, I think before the farming guild, it was and before birdhouses. The way to train farming was just to kill Zora, right? You kill Zora, get your palm seeds, magic seeds, whatever else it drops, and those are what you use basically.
Yep, yep. I wonder what because I feel like, and this kind of happens a lot with a lot of different players. I feel like the players that imagine a time in RuneScape when things were better, where things weren't as broken. But the thing is, like, even when you look back at early 2015, which like almost 9 years ago at this point, Zora was a thing. I mean, Zora was the most busted thing ever, but that was, just several months after the release of original Iron Man. And like, I want to almost imagine a different reality where Zora was never a thing and buffed wyverns were never a thing either. Like how Iron Man really would have played it out, like how the skilling metas would have evolved without
Yeah,
those two things.
we'd be spending thousands of hours at the pure essence stacks mining our essence.
Yeah, I mean that is how I see like real Iron Man. Like that's how like real Iron Man should have been, I think even Bodhi kind of has had that sentiment back when he was playing his like I can't even remember all the rules he had with that account, but he would go mine pure essence, through the Wizards Guild and or the Magic Guild.
Is that the Galugi there, the
Yeah,
2005 based one?
yeah,
Yeah,
that one. Yeah, There's something
Yeah.
magical about that though. Like I don't know. Like that is what I see as real nostalgic classic RuneScape, where everything's a fucking grind and it's
Yeah.
tedious.
But then how many players would stick that out beyond, well, how many would even go to 99 and how many would even want to go past there with that kind of gameplay loop?
It's true. I mean, and then we get to that other kind of argument that goes around like, should max capes have ever been a thing? Should skill cape perks ever been like max cape
Uh,
itself could have been a thing, but were all the perks necessary? You know?
well, the current max cape is definitely the most overpowered item in the game. Never mind Twisted Bow or any of these. The max cape is so powerful by itself.
It's disgusting. It's like it's a completely different game once you get it. It just makes everything so much easier.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about the max cape? Do you well, I mean, we're all used to it now, so I'm not going to even ask should it get removed or anything. But like, are you happy with the max cape being in the game?
I think it would definitely be a very different experience without it. Um, RuneScape 3 has an interesting thing where you can only get three of the skill cape perks on the max cape. So maybe that would be something like that would be a bit more balanced or, less overpowered.
Yeah, that I mean, that is like the one example of RuneScape 3 not being as busted as old school, and
Yeah.
it makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, the thing with that though is you can just switch them out whenever you like. So if you're doing a particular activity, you could have, a certain set of boosts in there. So
Do you have to like go to a bank to switch them out or something, or can you just
I
freely
don't
switch them
remember
whenever you want?
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
well, I guess even if you could freely switch them around, you'd still have the cape in your inventory, right? To maybe use it on the max cape or something. So
hmm
in old school, you'd probably just like have all the skill capes in your inventory anyway, which would take up all your space and kind of remove the usefulness of that.
Yeah, and I think, and I could be wrong about this because part of the beauty of RuneScape is having things kind of intertwined, like having like useful things come from skilling, come from PVM, come to PvP, like all these things that are kind of interwoven. So like progressing your account in any fashion is kind of, making things easier. But I really wonder if it would have been better for there to have never been any skill cape perks in old school and have it and also when it comes to like raids, not even have the incentive to have high skills for like raiding. Now, Chambers of Xeric is I guess a little bit different because that actually came out as a skilling slash PVM raid. It was meant to be an overall experience, but with other things like in Toa and stuff where like you are literally benefiting drastically and you're kind of trolling if you don't have 99 mining. Like that kind of incentive to skill has obviously caused a lot of like problems when it comes to skills, like this need to get the skill done faster, and now we have a bunch of casual players that kind of almost like expect skills to be pretty easy to get so they can, quote unquote play the game once they, get all 99s, which if there was no perks to any of these skills, then that wouldn't have ever been a thing, and then it truly could have been if you like skilling, you'll skill and that's it. So
Yeah, I definitely noticed a lot more. Well, a lot of the miners of Volcanic mine just after TOA release, they were all there just to get their 85 mining. I think it was to speed up the puzzle rooms.
yeah, yeah.
And they even like said, yeah, I can't wait to get out of here once I've done this or whatever.
It's so
So
sad. It's like that is how skilling's seen nowadays. It's like this is just a means to an end. Like I hate this. This is chores. Get me to the fun stuff, which, a lot of people regard as PVM.
yeah, and I think a lot of people also push for max total. I don't think it's necessarily for the max cape and the perks, but I guess they feel there's some kind of level of completion of achieving that,
Yeah.
even though a lot of them will, inevitably just burn out after that point. I mean, they hate the journey of getting to the max cape and then just seem to lose motivation or interest in playing after that point.
It's tough because we can have that system, like the system we currently have, as long as there is like integrity behind these things where, the team is not going to cave under pressure. where like, okay, we got to make things easier because people are demanding it, but it's a problem because this whole game is run by the community. So it's okay to have things interwoven and have these, big hour skill grinds to upgrade your PVM experience slightly, but there needs to be like a clear statement that's like, we're not going to make these things easier, you know. But I don't know. It's
Yeah.
almost like you have two options. It's either don't intertwine all these things, or make it very clear that we're never going to make these things significantly easier. We can come out with new updates, different ways to train, but one of the things that's important is to maintain the like integrity of XP rates and balance and stuff. And again, like I'm not against XP rates being slightly increased over the years as long as it makes sense, but that shouldn't be the overall thing. Like, oh, we have a new update, it's more XP per hour. Oh, thank God, like that's the wrong way to look at it, I think.
Yeah, I think as long as as long as the game goes on, obviously XP rates are going to slowly increase, just like there is power creep. And I think it's okay as long as there's some increased level of effort, or maybe for something like production skills, some increase in gold cost or something for these methods. Then some way to keep them balanced and fair,
Yeah.
and that's okay.
Yeah, I think that's like a really reasonable like position to hold. Like it's fine that the game progresses. I've definitely heard purists that don't want any sort of like update to anything, which I can kind of see the argument slightly, but at the same time, like it's a game. It's not like a well, I mean, I treat as a lifestyle as some other people as well. But at the end of
Yeah,
the day, we gotta see it as a game. It should be fun, and it's okay to
yeah,
progress.
yeah.
So you brought up VM. I want to hear your experience dying on your first hardcore there. What was that experience like? Just let's hear it.
So, uh, I mean, it was a long time ago. So, actually, it was like 5 years and a week or 2 weeks or something now. So, anniversary celebration or something, I guess. But yeah, what I remember, I was kind of tired while I was playing. Maybe I wasn't making the best decisions. Uh, so I guess it's hard to understand if you don't really know the mechanics of the mine. But the stability hit zero, like on one of the updates, and I thought I had longer to escape the instance. Like I was running for the exit and didn't have enough, as much time as I thought I did to get out, and the mine collapsed. And when that happens, it's just instant death, and you can't teleport or anything. So I was kind of in a state of shock at first, like a bit confused as what happened or how I made a mistake, but kind of just accepted it. Uh, I remember I turned on the stream, I went live, and yeah, I guess people who were tuned into that might have seen I was a bit shocked and yeah, a
How
bit
much
dazed.
how much VM had you done previous to that? Like what XP were you
Uh,
at? Just for those
I
listening.
was, I think it was like 20, early 20 mils. I mean,
Okay.
it'll be on the high scores because it was whatever, like on the hardcore high scores for that account, it'll be whatever I died at. But
What
I'd done about 100 to 150 hours there, so I had a fair bit of experience. Like the first games I did there were with Erudite
mhm.
back in the day. I had some of those guys holding my hand. I remember just following Vati from rock to rock and
Hell yeah.
standing where he stood and mining the boulder. They were pretty good in showing me the ropes, and then I kind of realized, wow, this is like so AFK, and the rewards is so good, like the XP and the ash and all this kind of stuff. So I kind of wanted to do it further. The reason why I was doing it at that point was because I'd just gotten a dragon pickaxe and figured it was a good time to restock my ash supplies, my volcanic ash, because back in these times you could only mine like 1,000 an hour from the ash pile. So
Yep.
volcanic mine like was the way to get your ash. And yeah, so I wasn't planning to do like some super long grind like I just did. I wasn't going for 200 mil at the time or anything. I was just stocking up on ash, but unfortunately made the ultimate mistake and got dropped.
Did you like what made you because I feel like at that time, at least the way I saw it was doing VM ever on a hardcore was just asking to die. Because I mean, I was more unfamiliar with it, but it just seemed like the cave can just collapse at any point and you just wipe. Like there's no way of getting out. So I remember thinking you had balls because I don't remember any other hardcore that was just going there for hours on end, just mining. It seemed like a
Yeah,
dangerous
and
place.
you still don't really see many at all doing it. Like when I did my grind, I think I saw like the recent grind I did. I think I only saw like one or two of the hardcores, and they didn't stick around for long. I guess most are just there to get the ash covered tome usually for the upgraded fertile soil spell, and then they usually get out.
So you've now been doing VM on your new hardcore and you're almost done with mining. Is that correct? Has it all been through VM?
So I'm done with VM. I did something like 1,700 to 1,800 hours in there, which was like
Jesus
160 mil
Christ.
XP.
Holy shit.
So
And you did you ever
yeah.
have any close calls? Like any what happens if you DC? If you DC, is it a death basically because you're going to remain logged in?
So you're always being attacked, or almost always being attacked by the lava beasts. So they keep you in combat. So I guess if you were to like X-log, like if the client closed or if your power went off, then I think you would automatically log out after a minute. Uh, if you DC on your own net, I guess that can keep you logged in. So really, you kind of like worst case scenario, or like best case scenario, I guess you just have to survive the minute you get logged out, or maybe you're not even under attack at the time and you just get insta logged out.
Wow.
Uh, but a lot can happen in a minute, especially in Volcanic Mine, because the platforms you spawn will despawn after I think is it 90? Yeah, 90 seconds. I think yeah, 90 seconds. I'm having to second guess myself, but yeah, 90 seconds. So if you've been stood on that for more than 30 seconds and then DC and stay logged in, then there's a good chance that that's going to despawn and you're going to end up swimming, which takes you drop into the lava and swim out basically. So you can take quite heavy damage from that. It's between 30 and 60.
Was there
So
ever a
if you
time where you had some sort of disconnect or are you pretty secure with your internet on your end?
there are a few instances that happen like fairly early on. I say fairly early on, like they happened in the first 500 hours or so of me being there. Um, there was one instance where my whole power went off
Oh
because
my god.
my housemate managed to trip the power by short circuiting something. So, uh, I think on that occasion, I did end up swimming, and I took some other damage from, other things that damage you in there that, don't damage you so much. So it's kind of a bit safe if you got the Ring of Life, because obviously the Ring of Life it'll teleport you anywhere between 1 and 9 health. So
Hmm.
as long as you're not being hit for much more damage than that, then you've got a fairly decent chance of being teleported out by the Ring of Life. So on that occasion, I think I did Ring of Life out. Yeah. Um,
Jesus.
there was another time where I had a server disconnect, so it was on JGEX's end and not my side. Um, and that was actually pretty close to the game ending. So if you're in the instance when there's obviously three ways to die. Your health hits zero, the stability hits zero, or the game timer hits zero. So if you're in there and disconnect with under a minute on the clock, then you're pretty much dead if you're being attacked by a lava beast, because you're just not going to escape combat,
Yep.
and you're not going to be able to get back into control your account. So yeah, there was one time where I got server DC'd with just over a minute on the clock. So fortunately, I I disconnected fully, with maybe just like a few seconds on the game timer. So that's quite
Oh
fortunate.
my
So
god.
I got booted out of the instance. There
Oh, that
was
is stressful, man.
yeah, there was one more time. So yeah, there was like three. From what I remember, there were like three like high risk opportunities that I could have died. the third one, I was having some issues with my mouse, and I was stood on a despawning platform with 60 health. So as I said, it can roll between 30 and 60 damage. And yeah, I couldn't reconnect my mouse, so I couldn't click to move away from the platform that was despawning. I ended up swimming, and I took 59 damage, I think. So from 60, I went down to 1 health. My Phoenix necklace triggered, and I went back to like I think it takes you to high 20s.
Yeah, I think it
And
heals.
yeah, at that point, I was able to reconnect the mouse and get back in control. But
Oh
yeah,
my god.
that was like the most sweaty situation I had when I was actually looking at what was happening and powerless to do anything about it, or
Oh,
like
that is
struggling to get the mouse reconnected.
that's insane. Have you done any VM on mobile? Are you a mobile player by any chance?
No, I play mobile, but only for like AFK stuff. I wouldn't actively, you know, game on there.
Okay. Um,
I would never do volcanic mine on mobile. I only ever did it when I was at home. Tethered up with my mobile phone, so I had a secondary internet connection. I know the power's fairly good here, and my home network is pretty good. So I wanted to be as safe as I could. All the precautions I could put in place to minimize risk. I've used them.
so you mined for 160 mil XP there. How many volcanic mine points do you get from that? And if I recall correctly, you can't endlessly stack your points. You do have to spend them pretty consistently, right?
Yeah. Um, you get something like 15 to 16,000 an hour. So I can do some quick maths for you there. I got somewhere around 28 million points, I think.
Holy, and what did you spend it
So
on?
so the cap is somewhere around 2.1 million. So every time you reach that, you have to spend them all. The the first 2 million went straight into teleports. So I bought 10,000 teleports, and that was enough pretty much for the whole grind.
Yeah.
Uh, and then I was buying volcanic ash. So I bought 160,000 volcanic ash. So that should be like enough for lifetime, farm runs, herb
Yeah.
runs, contracts, all that kind of stuff. And the rest went into runite ore. So that's about 20,000 runite ore I have banked. I also
Okay.
have a yeah. So I kind of calculated to have 2 million points in the bank as well. So if ever I need to buy some more ash, I can. Otherwise, that'll get converted into runite ore at some point.
Is the Runite ore the best bang for your buck on a hardcore Iron Man?
Yeah, it's actually even for like mains, it's the best GP per point. It's like 13 GP per point, which is something like 200k per hour.
Damn. Damn, that's pretty intense. That's cool. I've never really done much VM. I think oh wait, let me
No.
also ask you this. What is how did you do VM? Because I know some people do like 1+1, some people just do like four mans and stuff. What did you do?
The majority was in teams organized by the Volcanic Mind Discord. Um, yeah, shout out to them. They do a great job, the moderation team, and uh, yeah, if you like, I think with all the recent controversies around mining, uh, I think if a lot of these people tried out Volcanic Mine, they'd realize it's not that bad of a skill to train, really. I mean, there's a bit of a learning curve. I mean, the basics are kind of easy to pick up, but then there's some more advanced stuff. But yeah, it really is like if you don't want a 3 tick granite or gems, then really that's the way I would advise or recommend to train the mining skill.
Yeah, the problem is you said learning curve, and a lot of people don't like that, so
Yeah,
they'll
they
never
don't
do
want to
it.
spend half an hour or so watching videos or reading the pages of rules or information that are there. Yeah,
Well,
some people just like to click on the star and watch the number go up.
yeah, and there's also a thing when it comes to just, I mean, humans in general, we just like the comfort. Like as soon as we find something comfortable enough, we just want to stick with it. We don't want to push ourselves beyond, what we think. Like even if there is some other efficient way that's even easier and better rewards and everything, it's like it's just so comfortable to just continue what you do, you know. So I think that is like the
Yeah.
biggest problem when it comes to a lot of skills, especially
Well, I
like
suppose with
yeah, go for it.
yeah, with stars, I guess it's not like with Volcanic Mine, you have to organize a team, you have to kind of stick with the team, and you're kind of not really free to go and do what you want. Like you can't just get up and walk away from your computer, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I suppose in mining stars, you can just super AFK. You can be playing another game, or even just sat in front of a TV or something. So I guess there is that. That it's a whole lot more AFK. I mean, Volcanic Mine is AFK, but it's a different kind of AFK.
Yeah, it's definitely like that was I think my biggest problem with Volcanic Mind. The reason I never got into it was because of that pressure that I had. Like I couldn't just get up whenever I wanted. And there's something about organizing teams as well that is more effort than having to three tick something in my opinion. Like just having to like organize teams that are going to be consistent because when you look at it XP per hour wise, you really need that consistency. By the way, what XP per hour were you maintaining throughout this grind, would you say?
Um, it's hard to say exactly because I wasn't like counting every hour and working out XP rates, but
I guess like what
the
what would be like an optimal hour for you?
the
Yeah.
the Volcanic Mine Discord states 94k an hour is what you should expect with Crystal Pickaxe and Celestial Ring, and that's about what I experienced. I think over the long run.
Okay.
I mean, that's going to go down if you have any like instances where you need to leave the mine early, or maybe somebody needs to take a quick break between games or something like that. But 94k an hour at the top end is achievable, and it's achievable over long periods of time as well, I would say.
All right.
And that forced pressure you were talking about, having to stick with the team, it kind of also forces you to keep grinding out, I suppose. So
It's true. It
if
does keep
like
you engaged.
yeah, you can't be slacking, and you're constantly going to be gaining those XP rates.
Let me hear your thoughts on shooting stars, what it was pre-nerf in a sense, and what your thoughts are on it now, if you have any.
Uh, well, the week they came out, I engaged with the content. Obviously, I was there 1.5 ticking stars to get my like the first year I played this account. I think I played it pretty efficiently with the time I put into it. So yeah, I was there 1.5 ticking the stars to get the dust as quick as I could, just to move on from the content. All I was there for was to get the ring because I kind of figured out that that item was worth getting, and probably the only item really worth getting for somebody going for 99 or 200 mil. So after that first week, and when I got the dust, I haven't really engaged with it. Uh, I I think they were in an okay state as they were before. Uh, it was, I'd call out the star locations to the clan, and some members would go there to AFK them. So it's nice to help out the community a little bit with that.
Yeah.
It was nice when they weren't like the meta thing to do, and they were just the well, I say meta thing. They're not really meta now, but for the effort you put in and the XP you get, I guess there is some kind of there is a lot of draw to them now. But
Yeah, I think just like a couple months ago when they first got that huge buff, I think the biggest concern was just the world stability of just people endlessly hopping, like 2,000 players hopping to another star. But yeah, I think they're in a great place right now, and I think the XP it makes sense what it is. So
yeah, it's not like super high, and it's not like engaging or particularly rewarding, like monetary wise. So those things I'm okay with, but I think they were suited better as a distraction and diversion, which is
yeah,
what they were introduced to the game as, rather than
uh,
this is something you can do all the time, every
Yeah.
minute of every hour.
From level 10 to 99 mining, just do this the whole way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay, so let me hear now, because after that VM death, you decided to go to Vorkath, and now this is on your first account that turned into a normal Iron Man. What was that grind like? And correct me if I'm wrong. Were you rank 1 Iron Man Vorkath?
I was when I finished it. I mean, I wasn't for quite a long time because there were like I think Heiger was maybe number one, or I think a few different people took along number one along the way because they would do so many kills and then stop their grinds because they had enough money or whatever particular supply they were after. Uh, 40,000 was kind of considered to be the like well with Heiger and his spreadsheets he theorized that 40k was like the perfect number to get as much. I think it was mainly for cash. But yeah, so that was the goal I'd set myself. Some people set their goals a bit lower. Some people set their goals higher. Um, so yeah, I ended up at rank one when I got 40,000, but wasn't rank one all the time. But yeah, I kind of got into it pretty quickly after I died on the hardcore. Uh, I remember streaming like very early on into that grind, and I remember Alfie raiding me actually one time, and I had like hundreds of viewers watching, and realized that I couldn't really focus on learning this with dealing with all that as well. Uh, so yeah, after maybe a week, 2 weeks or something, it becomes almost like a brain dead activity. You're not even thinking about it once you've learned all the mechanics.
Yep, yep.
So the only thing you really need to do at Vorkath is not take your hand away from the mouse, because if you do that, you're just guaranteed to get a giant fireball
Yep.
landed on your head.
Every time.
But yeah, it was pretty relaxing, pretty enjoyable. It's nice to see these big loot piles of stacks of rune items and bird's nest at the time and
Yeah, how much did that net
grapes,
you
bones.
profit wise? Do you remember the amount of loot you got, like I guess GE value wise?
I think it was something like 140 to 150k per kill, so over
So like
40,000
$6 bill?
kills.
Is that like almost $6 bill?
Yeah,
Five, 6 bill?
yeah, I think about 6 bill. Yeah, it would have been 6 bill loot.
Jesus. And that's still the meta for irons, right? Now people speculate, what's the appropriate place to stop at Vorkath, but that's still what you do for Slayer, correct?
Not so much anymore. There've been some big changes to the game since then. So we had Sepulchre. That's so the main reason to do Vorkath even back then was for the money. Like obviously it gave you a load of prayer supplies, cooking supplies, crafting supplies, but the main reason to do it was for the money. Uh, so yeah, Sepulchre now you can kind of get really good effective GP rates because you're just like looting. You spend maybe 10, 20 seconds to go and loot something and get a few rune items. So that's pretty good for money for irons now. And also the update with Guardians of the Rift to ZMI and rune crafting. The outfit that gives you 60% more runes, and it also kind of made that kind of made ZMI like the meta for rune crafting now. So that was huge for money because all the excess runes you get from that you can sell for GP. So Vorkath isn't really as important as it was, and you could probably get by without killing any now. But I think most people still kill like a few thousand. Um, yeah, but definitely not meta anymore. And also with like we had changes to crafting EHP. So the meta for that now is to either blow glass while you're doing artifacts, the thieving method, or to blow glass during ZMI when you're running to the altar. So a lot of the valuable crafting XP you got from the dragon hides from Vorkath, because you would get like heaps of those. Not quite so important anymore.
Interesting. So that is, I've always liked that there's like more diversity now when it comes to stuff. Like I think Sepulchre was one of the best updates that came out into the game. Just fun wise, a skill that actually requires skill for once, and
Yeah.
just the
I
enjoyment
actually
of it.
quite like I quite like the Brimhaven agility training method because there was some skill to that as well, like finding the most optimal route, and then between pillars you'd be jumping over the was it the falling rocks, the pressure pads,
Yep, yep.
and you would get like 72,000 XP an hour. So it was more than the RD agility course, but then obviously you don't get the marks of grace. But I enjoyed that method. I mean, I enjoy Sepulchre too. I think it's really engaging and definitely one of the best updates we've had.
There definitely needs like one thing that it didn't do well was balance the current meta. Like it just completely dominated the meta, like immediately.
Yeah,
So
the
yeah,
the best XP rate definitely shot up a huge amount, and
yeah.
obviously the players managed to achieve much better than what JX expected the maximum rates to be.
I recall Husky saying 80k XP an hour, and that was like no looting. Like that was like
Yeah,
the idea behind. Because in my head, I was thinking, oh, this is going to be extremely balanced. It sounds like you're going to make no profit whatsoever and get the highest XP per hour, and maybe 80, maybe 90k if they're lowballing it. But no, you still make absolute bank, especially if you're a main. I mean, you still just loot that chest. It takes like what 10 seconds every lap. So
yeah. Maybe main just loot the chest at the end, but still, yeah, you get what a 1 in 200 chance of the ring, which is
yeah,
40 mil or something. So yeah,
yeah,
that's pretty
yeah.
crazy.
But I will say, oh, and I've also, it would be cool. One is, I remember having this idea a couple years back. It was like updating Brimhaven agility. I think even though, yes, there's that meta already where when you're waiting, you're just doing the pressure pads. But I really thought it would be cool to have like a challenge mode Brimhaven where like it really is as soon as you hit the ticket dispenser, another ticket dispenser spawns. Now, you'd have to appropriately balance it so you're not getting 150k XP an hour and stuff, but like something where you feel like you're constantly going for the next ticket instead of that grace period where you're just
Yeah,
waiting there.
I don't think that would really up the difficulty too much.
It
Maybe,
wouldn't. It
maybe
would just,
something like if you could like randomize the obstacles so that you got to like think on your feet of the fastest way to get to the next machine would be interesting as well. Something like that.
yeah. I mean, if there were to be like a complete new revamp of something like Brimhaven Agility, that would be amazing too. Like something that has a little bit more skill involved, something like Sepulchre, but it's still a ticket based thing where you're really trying to just maximize your route, get these tickets, store up XP, and that would be like the new thing. I think with Brimhaven, if Jagex were to just make some simple changes, I think just having the ticket dispensers immediately go to the next one, I think could be really, in my opinion, I think it'd be pretty good dopamine as well. Like having like these like back to back ticket dispensers that are right adjacent to you, just getting that nice flow going, but then you get fucked up and you have to go all the way across the other side occasionally. But like I think just the idea of there constantly being a new ticket to go for would make that a little bit more fun. I might be wrong in saying that. I
Yeah,
know Automelogy might disagree. He loves the pressure pads, but I just think it'd be fun to just continually get more
yeah.
tickets.
Would
So,
would definitely need a lot of balancing and time put
yes.
into it, I guess.
All they would need to do to balance that though is just have like someone simulate like like a 6 hour doing it basically, and then just like okay, like what is the appropriate XP rate? And I would say even bump up Brimhaven to like 80k XP an hour or something that's a little bit more appropriate for the time. But again, that there's also other courses to consider. I think one of the most depressing things, and I'm gonna mention Automelogy again, is like the Dorg course. I mean, that was meta for so long, and then it just became this dead content that nobody's touched in years. Place is full of
Yeah.
cobwebs.
I suppose at least with the Brimhaven agility course now, there's still the collection log slots, right? I guess you have to get the pirate hook and
Yeah,
these things that take hundreds of tickets. So there's still going to be some activity there.
yeah. When it
But
comes to
yeah,
like Dorg and stuff, there isn't really.
I think that's just dead.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a shame as well. Like the wilderness agility, first of all, is kind of weird because it doesn't require any risk really. But I think even like a revamp of that wilderness course. By the way, that wilderness course I have to do when I do my clues, and the fact that you still fail the like two different obstacles you can fail at 99 agility is just ridiculous. Like, can we please, Jagex, can we fix that? Like, can we fix failing at 99 for the love of God?
Yeah,
Yeah. It is nice, I will say, at Brimhaven that you can't fail. You can walk on the wrong planks and everything and you're good. That was a nice update at 99.
yeah. RuneScape 3 have a thing where you can wield an item that skulls you and makes you attackable. Like it's a safe space now, the wilderness. But this
Hmm.
item also increases your XP rates throughout the wilderness. So you can equip one of those and head up to the wilderness agility course and get fairly reasonable rates now, I think.
Interesting.
So maybe some system similar to that where you just have to take risk to get the increased XP rates.
Yeah, I mean, that would be completely appropriate, I think. I am against having skilling metas, like the metas be out in the wilderness, but I'm totally okay with competitive methods being out there for people that choose to. I don't know how you feel about that wilderness skilling. That's why I hate the Chaos Altar. Well, the Chaos Altar, there's other factors to that why I hate it so much, but that
Yeah.
obligation to be out in the wilderness to efficiently skill is pathetic.
Yeah, I'm not too keen on it either.
Yeah, especially for you. So I'm looking at your stats right here, and it has all your prayer just been kind of passive through Slayer, or have you actively trained your prayer? Because I feel like that would be something you want to hold off on just in case you die. I don't know what your plans are if you die on this account or not, but
So with Slayer, you get roughly well, you can optimize your task list to get one-to-one Slayer to Prayer XP, so it's not really an issue.
hmm.
But that does end up meaning that I melee some Abyssal Demon tasks, well, pretty much all my Abyssal Demon tasks to use the Ash spell there. Obviously, like doing one of these spellbook swap methods with the Ash spell would be slightly more efficient, or even like if I had a Vanita bow, using that would be better. Um, the only difference, like with the dragon bones and stuff, is if I was an iron, obviously I'd be banking all these and taking them to the Wildy altar and the Chaos Wildy altar. But instead, I just use the bone spell there, so I'm not having to make constant trips to the bank to store these. So yeah, I guess these are like things that I could hold on to it just in case I do end up dying and could get more prayer XP out of them, but I'm not too concerned about that. Uh, One of the big reasons why I did the volcanic mine so early after maxing and did so much of it was because that was what I considered to be like the most risky thing I'd be doing, like for the rest of the account. I mean, obviously, there's going to be stuff like new quests that might have really powerful rewards, like Desert Treasure 2. I completed that just to get the seventh block slot, and there's going to be other like hard or dangerous quests where they're going to have these really appealing rewards where I'm going to have to weigh up the risk to see if I want to go and take it on. But
So
yeah, I'm not.
I'm actually impressed that you did DT2. That was actually a pretty dangerous quest. Like I died like 3 times during it, but I wasn't super prepared for one. But yeah, that quest was no joke. Do you?
Yeah, my gear is terrible as well, as you can imagine, with not doing much PvF.
Yeah, yeah. You don't have a T-ball on this account. Um, so at what point will you like? I don't know if there is a point for you, or there's like a line of XP that you have where you won't be risking that stuff. Because I feel like in the long haul, you still are technically in the early days of when we were looking at 200 mil all, but I don't know. Is there like a cutoff point where you just refuse to do any dangerous content just to finish up? Because that, correct me if I'm wrong, that is your ultimate goal, right? To like achieve 200
Yeah,
mil all.
that's my play style. Yeah, I feel I'm kind of already at that point. Like I don't see much of what I'm going to be doing now to be particularly dangerous. I think the only things that could probably get me killed are like if I make some mistake during Slayer, like if I take off a Slayer helm accidentally somehow, or I forget to take my Dragonfire shield to the dragons,
Yeah, yeah.
something like this. Like I wear the Ring of Life everywhere, so that pretty much guarantees safety at most monsters. Uh, I guess it would depend on how big the reward is and the risk. It's something I would weigh up. Like with Desert Treasure 2, I could have just skipped that and waited a year, 2 years for enough quests to come out that give quest points to give the seventh block slot. Because that's the only like really important thing that I got from that quest. Because obviously, well, the main reward for doing that quest is unlocking the bosses, I suppose, right?
Hmm.
Which isn't useful to me at all. I'm not going to be taking any of those on. So yeah, it was primarily for the block slot that I could have waited for. Uh, so yeah, we'll see as new content comes along, and I'll consider as I go whether I want to take it on.
So I'm looking at your bosses. It looks like you've achieved everything from Hydra, right?
Yeah, it took me whatever KC I'm at now
Yeah,
to get the lance.
2574. Sheesh. Was that
Yeah.
were there any close calls there? I know that place you have to really focus. Like it's easy, but you got to focus.
I think I might have been chanced once, but I was like really high health, and the like chance of dying was like less than 10% or something.
Okay.
Yeah, I played close attention during pretty much that whole grind. I mean, before then I was playing RuneScape 3 on the side. I've come back to RuneScape 3 now, but I kind of quit at that point just so I could really focus on just playing old school and giving it my focus because I don't want to make some mistake because I was, not giving it enough focus. And yeah, glad I did that.
What do you do on RS3?
Pretty similar, really. Just skilling. I mean, it's like obviously so AFK now, and the experience is so high. So you just click on something, and maybe it requires your attention every minute or 2 minutes, but just a nice side thing to progress on.
Is it an Iron Man
Going
or
for
a main?
it is an Iron Man. It was a hardcore Iron Man, but no longer a hardcore Iron Man. Uh, I don't think I ever would have given it enough focus and attention to keep it alive because skills like Slayer are so much more dangerous on there. Like the XP rates are a lot higher, but the chance of death is a lot higher as well to
Mm.
the mobs there. So I'm not too fussed about the hardcore status on that, but yeah, Iron Man and just grinding XP.
Very cool.
Same as old school.
What made you get into skilling in general? Like what and also what was your history before hardcore Iron Man? Were you already a skiller at some stage?
Not really. I mean, I played from I played like 2005 to 2012 pretty casually and uh kind of quit when EOC came out. I started off on old school pretty much on the launch and played like a PK build, like a Berserker Pure. I played that for a few months and then I think I accidentally got 46 defense and kind of lost motivation and stopped playing it or something. Uh, didn't come back to the game then for like a year and a half. Around the time Iron Man came out, I made an account and played it a bit, but wasn't too motivated or whatever to play. Kind of gave up on that pretty quick. 2016, I kind of came back to play around when Monkey Madness 2 was released. Tried that out a bit and then left. But then when I saw Hardcore was announced, um, for whatever reason, I've been drifting between some other games and figured, okay, now it's time. Let's get back into RuneScape. And yeah, I was really motivated and went hard from day one on that. And my goal, even from the beginning, was just to kind of grind the high scores, grind the ranks, and see how well I could do on a fresh high scores in a new competitive environment. So it was always my mindset, really, from then until now.
What was your peak rank for hardcore and for normal Iron Man on your
Uh,
first account?
so for hardcore, I think it was in the middle of 2018, maybe early 2018. I was rank 3. Um, yeah, it would have been like the mid to late 2018, like obviously before I died. And sometime between then and dying, Alkan finished maxing. Like he'd kind of just been doing a lot of post max stuff for a long time, so he already had tons of XP and was ahead of me, like EHP, XP, just wasn't 2277 total.
Hmm.
So yeah, I peaked at rank 3, and at that time it was Nex and Crystal Farm who were ahead of me. And yeah, pretty shortly after Crystal Farm stopped playing and Nex died, so it was kind of unfortunate that I died when I did because there was still possibility to then move up there. So yeah, I did die at rank 4, and as an Iron, I remember when I when I became just an Iron, when I lost the hardcore state, I was like rank 70 on the Iron high scores, and then just kept grinding with Vorkath and Slayer. The XP went pretty quick, as it does when you're staying, because you're getting all the these other Slay the Prey
Hmm.
hit points and magic XP. And after about a year and a half, I think I moved up to, I think it was either like rank 19 or rank 20 on the high scores.
Damn, rank.
And well, it was about a year and a half to get to the front page, and then by the time I stopped playing in early 2021, I was like 19 or 20.
Has there been any time where you felt burnt? Uh, or has there kind of been a pretty good consistent drip of motivation?
Um, the closest I'd say I came to it was when I died on the first hardcore. Actually, as I said earlier, I was like bit bit demotivated by the hardcore Slayer grind that was just like so prayer focused and dragon focused that I didn't find it particularly enjoyable. But for the most part, I've always enjoyed playing and always motivated to play. Like, yeah,
Hell yeah, that's cool. Um, okay, so I'm gonna go to the Twitter topics real quick because there are some like really good ones that I think are interesting.
yeah,
So DK Ho, he's asking who is on your Mount Rushmore of hardcore Iron Man? I guess
yeah.
like your top four.
This is kind of a hard one. I mean, there are a couple of obvious picks for me, and then the others a bit more of a struggle. But I would say uh, fifth is definitely up there. Fifth, Thakuram and LOL. I mean, he started his account almost 6 years ago,
Is that his
and
actual
he's
fifth hardcore?
I've got no idea. I mean, I don't think I've ever spoken to the guy, and I've never seen him interacting with anyone. He kind of just keeps to himself for the most part, from what I've seen. But he is, well, he's definitely a legend of the game mode now.
Yeah,
I mean, he started just, I think it was just under 6 years ago now, and he's almost like 200 mil all. Like he's closing in pretty quick.
that is
So it's
nuts.
pretty insane how fast he's completed the game mode. Uh, The second one, I would probably say Bracefoot. I mean, he was like for PVM achievements, he's probably the most notable of like any we've had. I mean, there was always different players who were like the best of their time. Like we had Oisper Kalia. One point, Signerd was like the goated hardcore Iron
Yep,
Man
yep.
of PVM.
That's crazy to think. That was years ago.
Yeah. When he like he came back to the game a few months ago, and it kind of seems like his PVM accomplishments weren't really all too impressive compared to guys like Bracefoot or
Yep.
maybe Mutts these days.
Uh-huh.
So those are my first two picks. I guess third would be maybe Osiris, just because his guide has been like so critical for like a lot of players' progression throughout the game mode, and he was like one of the first few people to max their hardcore man. I think he was like was he like second, third, or fourth? He was pretty early on. Uh, yeah, and then he kind of after that he kind of played a few remakes and ended up dying, and I think he doesn't really play anymore.
Yeah, it was
But
always
he's
this.
definitely,
It was the screenshots at CG I'd always see. Just
yeah,
oh, we made a new hardcore. Oh shit, he's already ready for progress, and then something would happen. Seems like
he's definitely an iconic figure, I think, especially with the guides he made, which were
totally.
really useful. And that was one of the things that really got me motivated to play was his guide. Like I followed that pretty religiously when I started the account, and then it was really helpful as well as a returning player to old school who hadn't really got much IMN experience. A fourth player is a bit harder. I'm not sure who I'd pick for. I mean, who would you pick? What are your four picks if you were to answer?
Oh, it's tough. It's so tough because I mean, I'm gonna put. I'll probably even choose like Praisefoot, Fifth Hardcore,
Yeah,
in my four, but then like I'm just gonna throw up Mutts there, and it wouldn't be, for like high ranking necessarily, but just the fact that when I think of Mutts, I think of Hardcore Iron Man. Like he has been so dedicated to the game mode, and
yeah,
he has continued to remake without question. And the fact that he now has like the most PVM progressed Hardcore Iron Man of all time and maxed is
yeah.
pretty insane. So he's definitely up there as well. And
And he's definitely good for community representation as well with the like streaming and
yep, yep.
like we used to have loads and loads of hardcore streams and it seems those days are gone now and there's not really many people who stream that content anymore.
hmm It's hard to say who my fourth would be. I probably will just throw like Alkin in there just for fun because
Yeah,
he really is just the definition of ass and chair and just games,
yeah,
So
yeah,
and I also love that like he started late, which it's crazy because like you think back and like what did he start like 6 months late or something? It wasn't even that crazy, but for the
yeah,
for the time, like in those moments, like when it was first happening, you're like, oh, 6 months, like you're never gonna make it anywhere, like this game mode's already been out for 6 months. But when you look at the
yeah,
long term, that really is nothing. And so I think
yeah.
him just grinding since the day he started is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a bit more like that when you start an account 4 years in. I mean, obviously the first account I had was like front page within half a year. This one I've been playing for almost 3 years now, and I'm just about to hit the front page, which is kind of crazy.
But you've also been doing mining. You could have done
Yeah,
something way
my
faster.
my EHP is definitely a lot higher than my actual rank, so it gives me a lot of room to move up if I keep doing fast XP skills.
Are you a fan of kind of the sleeper sort of build? Like, obviously, you're not qualified as a sleeper because you're already maxed, but like, and that's essential, honestly, for hardcores. But do you kind of like that idea of gaining EHP rather than XP initially?
Uh, yeah, I think the maxing is kind of essential because the max cape is so overpowered. It'd be foolish not to take it. Uh, at that point, I think EHP is like more important of a account progression statistic than XP is because there's a whole lot of people on the front page even now who just like basically sat in nightmare zone forever. I mean, I'm not going to name names, but there are people up there who like if they were in it for the long haul, they'd probably fall behind pretty,
Yep.
they'd fall behind in the long run.
I've never like I really don't understand. Like I understand why they do it because they're lazy, but like I never understood people that just go overboard with their Nightmare Zone XP. Like, come on,
Yeah,
man! Like you're just wasting so much potential time in the future. Like, what
yeah.
the fuck are you
I
doing?
think it'd be pretty depressing to go to Slayer and only get like 40 to 50k overall XP an hour or something crazy.
Oh yeah, it's so. I mean, even me as like a more overall player, like I'm 200 mil strength, 200 mil hit points, 200 mil range, and there's like multiple bosses where like that's all. That's the only attack styles I'm using, and not gaining any XP
Yeah,
even feels bad, and I'm not even there for the XP. It's just this fucking
yeah,
sucks. Like I hate this feeling of being capped out.
yeah,
I remember Iron Vatty, speaking of him again, like he was always really disappointed in himself for getting 200 mil thieving so early on. Like he wanted he had a goal early on that he wanted to, like it probably wasn't going to be feasible, but he had that idea of like getting top page in every skill, just
Yeah.
really pushing hard for that. And so that was the reason he kind of did it. But, and I don't think he's been playing much recently, but when he did come back, he was really disappointed in him trying to get some blood shards for some PVM, and he had to get 0 XP. The whole thing.
Yeah.
That's disturbing.
Yeah, my thieving's pretty high, but I've only ever trained it like when I've been either using my computer for other stuff, like playing other games. Like I played a whole lot of Call of Duty Warzone back in 2021, and yeah, I got like loads of thieving XP, and I'm pretty close to 200 mil. I could finish it with ease, but it does feel like I should kind of leave that for when I am going to be playing other games or just doing other stuff where I can just foot pedal it.
Yeah,
because that's like brainless and takes no effort.
Yeah, it does.
It does feel like a waste of that time
It's
to do it actively.
It's really efficient. I respect the players, like Iron Higer comes to mind. I respect those players that will literally leave like a mil. They'll be at like 199 mil XP, but they'll be efficient and they won't get 200 mil in secure rank, and they'll leave it like that for a year, or more. Just maximizing every little efficient XP you can get in the future. So
yeah, fifth hardcore has done that with. Well, I've done it to some extent, but fifth hardcore has done that with mining now. He's like a million XP away, and sometimes you see him at the day out mine. So I guess he's just going to make it up over time with that. And I guess he's not too worried about me coming and taking. So like I'm ranked 6 mining, he's ranked 5 mining. I suppose he's not too worried about me suddenly, forcing that out and trying to take the rank from him.
Yep.
But it's the same with me. I could go and mine all my sandstone now and be 2-3 mil away from 200 mil mining. But there's no rush for me to get that last XP, and I'll just get it passively over time from mining day out for runecrafting.
Frey asks, would you consider doing 40,000 Vorkath on the hardcore? Is it even efficient anymore?
I definitely would have considered doing on a hardcore. Obviously, when I died on a hardcore, that was like the first thing I did, which shows that I wasn't really willing to do it on a hardcore. I guess it would like solve some issues with prayer XP. You wouldn't have to go and kill abyssal demons and use the ash spell there, like with melee. I guess it could fix some of those issues, but I think the amount of risk involved is pretty crazy. What is impressive though is like Lydia Kenny or Sorkid went and did like tens of thousands of Hydra. It was pretty interesting because it's not really mandatory or really efficient, but pretty ballsy to do.
Still hasn't died. Is he playing still?
Yeah.
Right now, or is he like I actually don't know if he's currently like gaming.
I think he's playing a small amount, but yeah, definitely not gaming as much as he was before this year.
Damn, 20,000 Hydra. Yeah, that's a stupid amount. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know what his. Oh yeah, no. He did KQ and like that alt method, right? Where he wasn't even getting attacked. I'm pretty sure.
No idea.
I think he streamed that. He's almost 5,000 KQ, and he's.
Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah, he's done some ballsy stuff, and he hasn't died. I mean, I was gonna like give him an honorable mention with the Mount Rushmore because I always thought he was a pretty big gamer, but
he's definitely a consideration. I think he's rank 1 EHB, so efficient now is bust.
Yeah, holy shit. Is that is that like the I know Olympus used to have like a what am I trying to think, like an effective EHB where like his Hydra probably wouldn't count as anything, but you're just talking EHB according to like Temple, right?
Yeah, on Temple. I imagine Hydra must have some kind of EHB because it's not like 100% efficient to do, so it definitely has some kind of weighting. I don't think he's done it for Olympus clan ranks or anything though. Yeah, I think it's probably just a goal he had for himself.
He's definitely a gamer. There's some really ballsy. I mean, especially when you're that high rank, it's different. Like when I think of Mutz, he's incredibly ballsy. But he's like lived that game mode, like that play style that he plays so much that it doesn't even seem like it anymore because it's just how he plays. But being almost 3 bill XP and doing that shit is kind of nuts. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I
respect.
think he had plans to do even more dangerous stuff as well. Like I seem to remember he was planning to do TOB or something that was going to be like extremely dangerous. And yeah,
Yeah, that's
I've
nuts.
not seen any updates from him in a while.
Yeah, but yeah, let's actually see you do it. Stop the talking. Let's see it. Yeah. No, no, he's definitely
Nah,
a gamer.
having 20,000 KC at Hydra is balls enough for me.
I know.
Yeah, I'll give him credit for that.
It's so easy to die there. Like if you're just kind of not focused. Like you really got to focus up.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy. Okay. And he did a lot of it before there was I'm pretty sure before there was like the head movement thing where you can kind of tell when it switches. I'm pretty sure he really was counting to 3 the whole time.
Yeah. It takes a
Um
lot of focus.
yeah. Okay, so not the owner or no the owner is asking gas hole is the best path to fix sea chamber. South pathers a bunch of swimmers in denial, end of story. I guess it wasn't a question. He's just stating that.
Just a statement, yeah.
Yeah.
So a bit of context behind that. The Volcanic Mind Discord has different guides to perform each role, and there's one in particular, the CFix guide, where uh, the guide was fine until about till the beginning of this year, early this year, and then it was like changed. The video was changed to show some slower route to get to the sea chamber to fix it. So now, obviously, every new player that comes into the Discord to learn the roles will watch that video and see the slower method and then copy that. But yeah, the thing is like I even like mapped out the tiles and showed the guy who made the video like how many seconds it was, like 6 seconds slower, I think, on average. Uh, but yeah, the video guide is still up there, and even till my last days of mining there, I would be telling players, oh, this way is quicker, and a lot of them kind of just stick to the way they've learned, and
Yep. That's what
yeah,
happens. Yeah.
yeah.
It's
Hopefully that gets changed at some point, though. They'll update the video again
yeah.
eventually.
No, I mean, we see that with so many things in this game. Like, as soon as you've practiced an inefficient method, you're gonna stick with it. Like, it just becomes habit.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
the if efficiency, now it's okay to be a player that doesn't care about that stuff, but if you do care about being efficient, it's really important to just always keep an open mind and always be
yeah.
willing to change your the way you do
Well,
things.
this thing in the mine isn't really that big of an issue to anybody else in the mine. It more affects the player who's doing it, because while they're pathing to this chamber, you're mining the fourth boulder, which is like the second best for points and XP, and it's probably actually like higher XP an hour if you were to compare it to the max you could attain in there. So
Oh, so
really,
you actually
it
want them to be slower. Like, yeah, keep doing
yeah,
that.
kind of. So I'm just doing it for their benefit, really, telling them, you can get back quicker and stop wasting your time. But yeah, it does kind of give you a
So,
boost,
so
a slight
that's why
buff.
the video's up. Now we understand why that video's up.
Maybe that's why.
That's funny. Okay. Box Terrier asks, he says, Demon Gamer, what would you change about Volcanic Mine? Also, chat about RuneFest. If I recall correctly, OneFalseStep went to some of the very early ones. I when I see OFS, I always think like, of course. I'm like, what? What is that? Yeah, you went to the early RuneFest. Okay, so yeah, let's hear. What would you change about VM first?
So I think in like the game itself, the mechanics are like perfect. They're really good. I think it's a very well designed mining activity or mini game. Like with the stability and the calculations behind that, the maths behind it, I think it's really interesting. There's lots to learn, and it all works really well. Um, but yeah, the main issue is getting people interested in it. So maybe some kind of tutorial system, uh, and maybe some kind of in-game role assignment as well. Like, so you don't necessarily have to go to a Discord to team up with people. Like, obviously, there's like the I think there's probably ways in game already. Like, there's the chat things when you go to the activity list. But I imagine you would need something a little bit more complicated than that. So say the tutorial could teach you the different roles. There's like A role, BC, B check, C fix. Maybe you would take a tutorial for those roles, something that you couldn't spacebar through, obviously, and then you could, join the queue to perform that role. And I guess it'd be something similar to BA in that way, but obviously with BA you're kind of more restricted on only being able to perform your role. So it would still need to allow you to do other roles because obviously not everybody's perfect and maybe somebody has to jump in to do something for somebody else and it's a lot more dynamic in that way. But I think that could be interesting. So tutorial and some kind of in-game queue system might make it more appealing to the masses and yeah, maybe make it more popular.
Yeah, I think that just the in-game tutorial would help so much. But it's got to be simple
Yeah.
because realistically, Volcanic Mind is extremely simple. But when you walk in there, like the whole thing is just like your first time going in there, you're like, what the fuck's happening? Like I have no idea
Yeah.
I don't even know the objective. Even the objective seems odd because you leaving to get the XP drop is very counterintuitive compared to most things. It feels like there
Yeah.
should be like a finish,
And I suppose there's nothing there to tell you, you got to get the ball to the end into the whirlpool. There's nothing that says that either.
Yeah, it's very odd. So a small tutorial that's very concise and because it would be so easy to make it concise. You just got to get the really just core mechanics down and just illustrate them very
Yeah.
clearly. And then, yeah, that would help drastically. That would help me. I mean, that would have helped me a lot. Like I haven't done much VM, so efficient VM I still don't understand how to do, but I understand at least the concept. But that took multiple hours to understand what the hell was even happening. Like I didn't understand the objective at all.
Yeah, and I guess teaching players about the event stability and status and that kind of thing.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm not sure if you would be able to make a tutorial for the specific roles. I mean, obviously, the game is kind of like the mini game is kind of solved now in that we know there needs to be 3 or 4 people performing these different roles in a team game to get the job done.
But
So
and that is cool. Like it's cool to have what players design as the meta. I mean, you just play it so much, you start figuring out things how to be the most efficient. But when I was hearing like, oh, you're a check or you're whatever the hell you are, like I didn't understand why I was doing that initially. I'm like, I
yeah,
understand you're telling me to do this. I have no fucking idea why. Like I'm just doing what you're telling me. But if you got an overall look at the whole map, like if the tutorial was you go down the first time and it just gives you a very overview of the whole place. Here's the vents. Here's what's happening. Here's the objective. You got to leave before. Like that would just have solved so much of the mystery initially. So
yeah.
and then the
And I
check
guess even just
systems.
having that in game might make people more curious and then maybe want to check out the Discord or something. So maybe you wouldn't even need all that extra stuff. But
And it didn't help that Volcanic Mine Release had such a high requirement. I think it took like 100 and something kudos, which like nobody had at the time. Like
yeah,
or 200
you
kudos or
still
something
get.
crazy. I don't know what it was.
I think it's 153 kudos if I remember correctly.
Okay.
But yeah, we I remember when I was mining, we'd still get people come along and be like, they're ready to join a team. They've watched the guys. They're all ready to go, and then they rock up and realize, oh, they haven't got the kudos requirement, or they haven't built the camp at the where you get off the boat. So yeah, there was some
Yeah,
stuff like that.
that's obnoxious. So it's I mean, we see that, if you come out with a piece of content and it doesn't instantly get that hype, if there's too many requirements or just like nobody knows how to get the kudos, because kudos is another problem. Like how do you even get kudos? That's something you have to look up as well. It's like it's
Yeah.
not something you normally do. And
Yep.
it kind of reminds me, I was just talking about this on the last cast, like Group Iron Man release. Group Iron Man release could have been so much better if you didn't have leagues like seemingly like right after that update. So it kind of kills that initial hype. And then I don't know, it feels like for an update to be successful, you really have to put some hype into it. Like you have to make it accessible somewhat, teach people how to, even participate in the first place. But if you don't do that, months go by and then people forget about the content. And I feel like that was VM for a lot of people. It was kind of dead on release because nobody was interested in getting kudos. Nobody was interested in learning this weird thing. So
Yeah, there was also like a whole lot of other content released at the same time because it came out with the rest of Fossil Island. So
yep.
maybe that wasn't so much the focus of people's early experiences with it. And yeah,
Yeah, it definitely wasn't. And it was obviously it's team based as well, so that's always a struggle no matter what. But
yeah.
Okay. Chat about RuneFest in the early ones.
Okay.
When did you go to RuneFest? What years?
So I've been to I think 4 now. I went to the first one, which was 2010. I went to 2011, 2013, 20. I think 2018 was the last one I went to.
Jesus, you were a kid. Like you were a kid in
Yeah,
those early ones.
The first one I went to, I was 15,
Holy shit!
and there was a rule at the time where it was like a 16 plus event or something. But my family who were like playing the game at the time, my mother and my grandmother,
They
they
played
were
RuneScape,
going. Not anymore, but
but
back
they
in the
played.
day, yeah,
Your grandma played RuneScape.
yeah,
Shut the fuck up! Are you serious?
yeah. She taught at a school, and a lot of the kids there, played as well. So sometimes there would be, in the computer room together on the lunch breaks, playing RuneScape. And she'd be there.
That's
So yeah,
crazy.
it was quite funny.
But they don't play anymore.
No, not anymore.
Is,
They've moved on.
does any other members of your family play?
No, it's just me now.
Okay. Interesting.
So yeah. My mother and grandmother, they were already going. They had tickets and everything, and I think they like made a email request to Jagex asking if I could come. Like even though I was underage, they wanted to. They didn't want me to be excluded. They wanted to make it a family thing, and yeah, they let me come along, which was nice.
That's cool.
I don't think I was like the youngest there, because if I remember correctly, like Mod Matt K had like his child there or something, and they were younger than me. But yeah, I was definitely one of the youngest attendees there.
That's cool. What are the differences? What were the differences between those early ones compared to 2018? You said.
It was a lot smaller venue. I would actually say my favorite experiences were like the first and the second. Actually, yeah, maybe just the first one was like, I don't know. It was yeah, like a small venue. The talks were quite interesting. It was around the time of dungeoneering, and that was like one of my favorite times of the game. So it was interesting to go and listen to all the talks that were happening on that at the time. The second one was I remember it being like a lot bigger size, and it was like a multi-level thing, and it felt like everything was like a bit further apart. Like it was like a bit of a trek to get around, which I guess like carried through to all the later ones. But that's going to happen, I suppose, when you have to expand the venue to get more people there. So I'd say the first one was definitely my favorite, and yeah. So the one in 2010, 2011, 2013, I went with family. And then 2018, I went with, well, I went and met up with some of the Olympus guys and stayed with some of those. So as you can imagine, it's a whole different experience when you go to an event with family compared to a bunch of other
Oh yeah.
other lads. Yeah,
And just being older as well.
yeah,
Yeah, I haven't been to any RuneFest. I'm praying that this next year they'll have one because I really want to go.
yeah. You're gonna go like regardless of cost.
Oh yeah, I will make it
Yeah,
happen. I mean, I really shouldn't say that because I like low key want like some sort of invitation from Jagex. I'm just like that's even
yeah,
gonna happen. But like who knows? Maybe maybe they'll be like, hey, we want creators to come out here and they'll pay for my ticket or something. But no, I'm
yeah.
gonna
That'd be
make
cool.
it out.
Yeah, I'd definitely like to go. I remember 2018. It seemed like a lot more of the event happened like outside of the venue. Like I remember being around the Weatherspoons in Farnborough a lot more than I was actually at the venue itself. Uh, yeah, I don't know. That seemed to be like the socializing point, like the meeting place, rather than inside RuneFest.
Yeah, I heard Inside RuneFest kind of smells like BO. That's what I heard. Or maybe that was just the dance hall. I can't remember.
Uh,
Yeah, I've just heard memes of it.
I don't particularly remember it being bad, but yeah, I guess
Okay.
you can imagine the type of crew that show up there. It's a lot of
A lot of
young
sweats.
adolescents. Yeah.
Yeah. That's funny. Any other memories from RuneFest? Any like how was 2018's RuneFest? Was there any memorable moments?
Um. Yeah. So that's the one where I hang around with the like most of the Olympus guys. So it was nice to meet them in person. I shared a place with Ayabata one night and with Sorba Sander another night. So yeah, we kind of hopped about groups a bit and got to meet a lot of people. A lot of people who I did know, a lot of people I didn't know. But yeah, it was a good experience. Uh, yeah,
If there's a RuneFest this next year, are you going?
yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely, as I said, like 2018, it was like mostly outside of the venue. So
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking of going in 2019 and not even like buying a ticket and just showing up and
Just hanging out
maybe
with
just
everybody.
stick. Yeah, but other things came up, so I had to miss that year. But yeah, I think I would go and probably buy a ticket as well for the venue and get the whole experience.
Cool, cool. Yeah, that I'm looking forward to it. I really hope that it actually happens. Um,
I think it will.
okay. Ariadna asks, does higher volatility of hardcore high scores make skilling more or less exciting? And I guess that can really be um, offered to like any sort of high scores. Do you think it's more exciting when things seem secured, or is it more fun when people are swapping
Uh,
ranks consistently?
I guess it's more exciting when there's more movement. So like earlier on in the game modes, there was a lot more focus on that, and yeah, people were moving around all the time. Like these days, you play like weeks and weeks or months, and maybe you only move one rank or you don't move anywhere at all. So uh, I think it was definitely more exciting in the early days, but there's definitely still some competition up there. People are still moving around. Some most players like even at the top aren't so active anymore. I have a look through the current top for hardcore Iron Man, and I see most of them are like doing 10-hour EHP weeks or less. It's kind of like the top page and the top two pages. This kind of thing now is like people who've been playing for a long time now, just making slow, gradual progress, but they've been consistent at it over a long time and managed not to die, basically.
Yeah, that I mean that really is like when we're talking like just almost a decade of grinding potentially, it really just comes down to not burning out completely and just playing as much as you can. It doesn't even
Yeah,
matter necessarily if you're being efficient.
I mean that's how guys like Alkan are up there. I mean, obviously he was a lot more committed to playing the hardcore in the first few years, and he's like top five now, and I feel like he probably barely puts any effort or too much attention to that account now.
Yeah,
And
he's
then
it's
you've got
always just chilling out. It's just never being
yeah,
efficient.
you've got Dave as well. He just makes a slow, gradual trudge, and now he's up on the front page and makes slow progress, but nothing too serious.
Yep, yep. It's literally just comes down to ass and chair. Just keep logging in.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep. Interesting. What are your thoughts on sailing having passed and probably being released next year, I'd imagine? Are you
Uh,
excited or are you kind of, yeah, let me hear what your thoughts are.
I'm not so sure if it's going to be released next year because I responded to some some like in-game message from them. My message center came up and asked for some feedback or whatever, and they said like some stuff regarding how you want to be updated with how it develops throughout 2014. So I can imagine they're looking at this as like we're not going to be done in 2024.
Yeah, 20. Yeah.
Yeah. I can imagine they're not expecting to be done in 2024 and that they're expecting it to be 2025 or later. I don't know.
I
But
mean,
it seems like this is
that's what I would have expected. It just seemed like there was so much talk, and it's all really community talk. I haven't heard anything from the team, but
yeah.
it seems like people were just assuming it's coming out next summer or next fall or something. But I'm like, if this is an entirely new skill that's going to revamp everything, this is going to take a long fucking time. I feel
Yeah.
like to nail
Well,
it at least.
it's been like a year now since they announced. I think it's almost a year. Was it the Winter Summit where they announced that they were going to be, polling a new skill, and
Yep.
then
Yep.
it took what 10 months to get through locking sailing in. So
Pretty much.
yeah, I was
Yeah.
kind of expecting when we had the Winter Summit that yeah maybe it'll go through the processes and we'll end up seeing sailing like late 2023 or sometime in 2024. But yeah, it does seem like this is a lot longer time scale than maybe what I was initially expecting, or what many people were initially expecting.
Are you excited for it?
Not really. uh, I like the idea of shamanism. That seemed kind of like interesting with the gameplay loop. Because that was like going to be like a mixed gather and production skill, which is kind of similar to what archaeology is in RuneScape 3. And yeah, I really like training archaeology because there was a lot to it, and you couldn't just pay to complete the skill. Even though it was like a mixed gather and production, it was like you had to do some of the gathering to be able to do the production, and it was fairly well balanced. So I think that could have been cool if they applied that to a skill like shamanism, like they proposed. Sailing, uh, yeah, yeah, I don't know how good that's gonna be. Like, is it gonna be interesting enough? Like, is it gonna be varied enough to keep people entertained and wanting to train it up to 99 and all the way past 99? Uh, yeah, I'm
It's
not too enthusiastic about it, but I hope that the team can do a good job on it.
Yeah, it feels like the skill really won't feel like a traditional skill. It really seems like it's going to be more of an adventure slash kind of raiding thing where you go on expeditions, encounter a monster, or go to some randomly generated island, do some stuff, and get some sailing XP for it. I can't
Yeah,
imagine the sailing XP comes from just riding your ship around like this.
no.
Yeah,
Well, from what I remember, they proposed that the best method would be to just sail your ship against like another ship or something. I
really.
forget exactly what it was.
What do you mean
Yeah,
by that?
um it was I forget exactly what it was, but yeah, it's like they proposed that the most intense method with the best XP would be some kind of race of you versus some NPC ship or something.
Interesting.
So
So it
this
is
this
really
this
like
was
navigational. It's not even like doing little
this was
mini
all in
mini
the
quests.
design stuff that came to us, I think.
Yeah, no, I mean, I do remember reading it. I've forgotten a lot on that because there was so much information overload.
Yeah, maybe I'm remembering it incorrectly or getting it mixed up, but
No,
I
you might be.
don't know
I
if it's
just
going
remember
to be.
there was like multiple factors. I just can't remember what the most efficient way was. If that was it, if that's what they were saying, then it's probably it. But
From what I took from the design documents, that was what they were saying was going to be. I can't see how interesting that would be repeating over and over again,
that's what I'm thinking.
all the way
What?
to 99 or 200 mil or whatever.
Who
But
do you?
I guess we'll see.
Who do you think will? Well, there's two questions. Who do you think will get 200 mil sailing first? And if that is somebody that already has 200 mil all currently, who do you think will be rank one?
Uh, I think My money would be on Rodney Father, just based on how quickly he progressed from 0 to 200 mil, or maybe even like fifth arc Iron Man. Depends how much being an Iron Man is going to be a bottleneck to
It's going to be a
XP
bottleneck.
rates.
Even if it's 10%, it's a bottleneck. It's
Yeah, but one of these players who've proven that they can put in solid hours for long periods of time and really accelerate up the high scores. Maybe Higer as well.
That's what I was going to say. I was thinking like high. If Iron Man really has no bottle cap, which I can't imagine it being like that, because it's just simply like getting a better ship, I feel like, and potentially having your ship break and just having like unlimited gold in a sense, like might like
Yeah.
just the GP costs alone, I think might be part of the bottleneck. But I'm also imagining, this is my own like assumption, like potentially it could be more XP per hour to have more crewmates on your ship for certain activities. I don't know how it's going to work, but if you're an Iron Man, who knows? Maybe they're going to make it so you can only sail alone because you're an Iron Man. I don't know how Jagex feels with that whole Iron Man sentiment nowadays, because it really feels like they're trying to stray away from that. They're trying to allow Iron Man to experience stuff just with other players, just trying to keep it minimal. But who knows?
Well, I think the crew system's going to be NPC, right? Or maybe it can be NPC or it can be other players.
It can be players as well,
I'm
I
not
believe.
sure. Yeah.
I'm almost certain you can have other players on
I
your
yeah,
boat.
so I can imagine having a player over an NPC is going to give you a bit more benefit.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what I'm
that'd
thinking.
definitely be a boost. Yeah.
There's probably going to be some crazy alt methods where it's like you're on your ship and you have 10 fucking alts like on your ship with you, just
I can
get
I can imagine so,
a
or
little bit more
maybe even
XP.
some kind of like leech methods or something where we'll get services selling XP or something crazy.
Yep. Do you alt on your hardcore
No,
ever
no.
for like anything?
I've done a few small things. Like when I was doing Master Farmer, I held the made a trap with a cow.
Yep,
Just
yep.
wind strike and get to hold it in place. Uh, yeah, like not for like long periods of time.
Okay.
Like Slayer methods. I'm not using any alts.
Damn.
Yeah,
I guess, I mean, nowadays it's not even that uh, useful because so many of the methods have been patched. It
yeah.
really is about convenience, I feel like, rather than efficiency at this point, which is, in my opinion, it's nice because I never liked alting. Did you ever have strong opinions on Iron Man alting? Because it used to be huge years back.
Well, one of the reasons I was more interested in playing Iron Man over main and why I was so motivated to start playing hardcore when it launched was because it's just going to be one account playing on its own, and you're not expected to have several different alts either to make your money for you or to actually assist you in game training. So yeah, I was never a fan of alt methods and would have preferred for them to be patched sooner than they were. Like they were a problem for a while. Well, I say a problem. I'd say they were an issue for a while, and it took JGEX a while to actually, you know, make any movement on stopping people from alting Slayer or other things.
I'm glad they finally put their foot down and did it. That's me personally. I know some people were really angry about it, but at least we agree somewhat on
Yeah,
the whole Iron Man mode being Iron Man, being a solo game mode. That was always really
yeah.
important to me. And it just, especially when it came to PVM, having a corp method be literally 2.5 times faster with two alts. That was ridiculous.
hmm
Like,
Actually, I did do a bit of that back in the day. I do remember
I
that
did a little
now.
bit too, because it's just you were
Yeah,
stupid not to, and I did so much stupid. I spent so stupid amount of hours trying to be, you know,
I
and have
remember doing
upkeeping
about
integrity. Yeah, go for it.
yeah. I remember doing about like 90 kills with a Guthan's War Spear because it was the best I had. I would just spec down on like
Oh
this
my god.
1400, 1500 total ult that I had. And this was before they even separated like the main instance from
Yep.
the Iron Man instance. So I was using a main to spec it down, running RD laps on my hardcore Iron Man. And then when the thing was spec down, I just run it with my Guthan Spear and poke it down.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean
I,
that was just so stupid, like that's just not how it should be.
no. But I thought it'd be kind of cool just to snipe one of those hardcore Iron first by getting, some spooned arcane or
For
something like
real.
that.
No, I mean, and then
Yeah.
if you have that pressure of trying to do it, like abusing it in a sense, because it's so OP. And a lot of people did abuse it. Like a lot of people got a
Yeah.
shit ton of corp KC because it was
I,
13 kills an hour.
yeah. I remember Lowlander, I think, was the first one to get credited with a sigil on a hardcore Iron Man. And he did that, and I remember there was a lot of backlash around that at the time.
Dude, it's crazy how the community has changed when it comes to integrity and when it comes to just things like that. Because, yeah, Lowlander got a lot of shit. He used to
Yeah.
also, have,
Before he'd even played hardcore Iron Man mode, yeah, with the UIM.
yep, he used to do God Wars and have another account tank for him.
Hmm.
And people were just like, this fucking rat. I'm like, bro, the shit that's going down right now, like services, all these other things, like, yeah,
Yeah.
that
At
is,
least he was open about these things and told people he did them like maybe afterwards or like he streamed this UIM thing, right?
yep,
So
yep.
at least there was like a public knowledge about it and that JGEX were able to, you know, for the sake of integrity, fix these things in the end.
Hmm. Dude, do you remember his streams and hardcore release?
Yeah, I
They
used
were
to watch him a lot, yeah, at
so
the beginning.
fun. Those were the most enjoyable streams ever. He'd just pull random 40-hour streams out of his ass. Just
Yeah,
game
he
super
was a
hard.
gamer. Yeah.
Yeah, he was. What happened to him? Does he still play?
He so he stopped streaming. That must have been, I don't know, 2017, 2018. But he
Yeah.
continued playing like he had two hardcores, right? I think he continued playing the second hardcore for a long time. I don't think he's been active at all the past year, maybe 2 years. But he does have a second page maxed hardcore, so he got pretty far with it. Just
Damn.
kind of, you know, with no spotlight on him, and yeah,
That's crazy. Like I just remember like I actually really don't remember how well his streams were doing because I just didn't think when you're not a streamer, I feel like that's not really the thing you think about. But when you become a streamer, there's like that kind of sense of like comparison where you look at view counts and stuff. I literally cannot remember what his view count was back then. I just remember it
yeah.
was pretty poppin' for the most
Yeah, I
part.
think he was fairly popular. He was one of the biggest hardcore Ironman streamers at the time of hardcore start.
See, that's just like one of those things. Like maybe he just didn't enjoy streaming, or maybe he just thought like this is going to come to an end
Yeah,
eventually. But man,
maybe it was the lifestyle for him.
yeah, that happens as well to multiple streamers that I know of. That just the more normal lifestyle is a lot more fitting and comfortable long term. So I understand that, but
Yeah,
it always is a sad thing where it's like it looks like you're just actually getting a ton of success. Like it's kind of sad to see him stop because he was a really entertaining streamer too. It was fun watching him. He was like my go-to.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's also when Hardcore Beard used to stream. That he was also in
Yeah,
Hard Game in
used,
the early days.
used to watch him a lot as well. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
And
think he kind of started. Well, when he took like rank one, maybe half a year into the game mode, and he was. I remember his first streams were like him killing Zora and
yeah, yeah, and doing Slayer and stuff because he was first to 99
yeah.
Slayer if I recall correctly on Hardcore.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
I think he was because I think I went to his party. Dude, god damn! I just these memories feel like a few days back. It really does. It doesn't feel like it was this long ago, but this was literally
Yeah,
because I'm pretty sure he got 99 Slayer like it was either early 2017 or even like before the new year it happened. But he got it so early it felt like because that was
yeah.
the only thing
He
he
was
did.
grinding hard. Yeah, like 20 hours a day or something ridiculous
Yeah,
from the game start.
yeah. Do you play leagues at all?
Nope. I've not played any of them. I mean, I've been watching some stuff, but I'm not so interested in playing. I think it's just that it's like a temporary game mode, and your progress is going to be lost. And I don't know. A lot of it seems like very similar to RuneScape 3. Like some of the relics are very similar to that. Like how, Trickster, you've got the basically Silverhawk boots from RuneScape 3, and the Infinite Thieving, you can get that as a archaeology relic. Uh, there's some other things that as well that remind me of RuneScape 3, but I guess it's all old school content, and even though people meme about how fast XP rates are in RuneScape 3, it's like you progress so much faster in the leagues. Like end game takes a matter of days.
Yeah. I think Adicon posted a video. It was like 5 days into the league. You already had full max mage.
Yeah.
Like, like what the hell? It's not even been a week yet.
It's interesting to watch some streams and see everyone's different progress and different routes and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, I've not really been interested in jumping into it myself.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I almost wish I could get involved in it because it is really exciting and a ton of players come back and everyone's choosing their own paths and stuff and it seems fun. But I think I'm with you where like I can't get over the fact that this all gets deleted. So every grind I'm doing, it's just like, why am I doing this? Like if a grind takes more than like 30 minutes, I'm just like, if I'm sitting here for hours on end and this is all going to get wiped, like knowingly, like, oh my God, it's painful.
It's definitely great for the game and the community as a whole. I mean, the player numbers have been huge, and I can see it being great for a new or a returning player because they can get to this end game and try all the latest content, or maybe like content that they've just not played on their normal account just because it takes so long to get there. So like it's really good that they have this opportunity to zoom to the end game and try it all out.
Do you worry at all about some of these relics and some of these perks being very fun for these players that they want them to come into the main game? Do you ever like fear of? But my fear is the stackable clue scrolls. That has been an ongoing discussion for years since Leagues 1 came out.
Yeah, I guess the real fear is do we trust Jagex not to like cave to the demand of all these players who are like they've only experienced League and they're gonna have like a strong voice because there is so many of them. I guess we just hope that they know what's going to be good for the game and don't listen to all these people who are saying to put stackable clue scrolls in the game or add any of these broken powers even in like a watered down version.
Yeah, no, it really just comes down to like having an honest conversation about like what makes this game balanced, what makes this game fun long term. Introducing things that are just broken, we can see. We've seen in the past things being introduced that are broken and it just negatively affects the game. So you're right. It would, I don't know, like it's a good thing that they do leagues consistently. I think that's like what's important is like continually giving people like a yearly or bi-yearly experience of this kind of broken stuff because a lot of people now. Not like the majority, but there is a significant portion of players that only come back for leagues now because it's like how it fits in their lifestyle. So, I think it's going to be here for good, which I actually do like. It's just I wish again, as I said, I wish I could enjoy it. I just end up liking the long-term progression.
If it did give you some kind of reward that was more than cosmetic, then I think that would be slightly negative on the game experience probably because then you'd feel forced to go and play it at that point, which isn't a good gameplay.
They've done a great job with just keeping it cosmetic, and the cosmetics, don't get me wrong, they are very enticing. Like it would be cool to upgrade my bulwark to a fucking Din's or a Inferno shield, but I'm literally just not willing to put in the time just to go do that. Plus, there's like other things I'd want to get as well, so I'm just gonna keep myself unkitted, I guess, for the most part.
Maybe eventually there'll be so many things you want to get that you'll feel like if you go and play one league, you'll amass the points to get them all. Maybe there'll be some point where you feel motivated to go and do it.
Yeah, no, that's what I've been kind of hoping for. Like, and the thing is leagues is so open ended. Like, we've kind of, I guess, we've sort of pigeonholed ourselves into this idea that leagues needs to be this Iron Man mode that's competitive, and there's areas that you select. It seems like that is the course that most people like. But leagues, in my opinion, is just having a private server for a couple months, and like you could do some crazy things with that has nothing to do with previous leagues. Like, I don't know. I've just one of the stupidest things I thought of like years back was this like a Benjamin Button mode where you start off on Tutorial Island maxed and you have to work your way down. And so it's a fucking masochistic mode, but at the same time there would be some strategy involved in like
Uh-huh.
getting all down to
If it
one.
was a competition or a race or something, like Path of Exile have their leagues, and then they have like these races dotted throughout the league, I think, and so yeah, could be some kind of interesting challenge along those kind of lines where yeah, you got to drop from max to zero as quickly as you can, and it
Yeah.
could only be like a few days thing or something.
Yeah, it's pretty much just like when as soon as somebody finishes, it just kind of wraps up. And
Yeah,
these don't even have to be, quote unquote leagues. They just have to be temporary game modes that get the community involved and get, people brainstorming and, the tons of content
yeah,
behind it.
a bit like King of the Skill.
Yeah, I loved King of
Yeah,
the Skill. I loved watching that. And like, yeah,
yeah.
that stuff's really
I
fascinating to me.
I did play. I did an account that just did farming, basically just grinded out tide farm and then grapes. But I think my tide farming method must have been inferior because I only ended up. Well, I don't think I landed up in the top positions.
Rip.
It was good fun though. It was interesting, to, like strategize and that kind of stuff though.
Yeah. The most interesting for sure were the people trying to go for overall levels because that takes so much strategy. When it comes to just
Yeah,
getting one, 99 as far up in XP as you can, that's a very simple task to do. But
yeah.
yeah, just seeing like Wooks and Bodhi up there with just trying to. Did Wooks end up winning that, by the way? I can't even remember that first King of the Skill.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's that.
I'm sure he definitely landed high up there though.
hmm That was a really fun thing, and I wish they would do more of that. Just these very sort of like
Yeah,
just out of the ordinary, completely. Just something that's. It's almost like you get a week that, or maybe like a month prior, they say something about it. Like we're gonna release this new thing that we're not gonna talk much about. We're gonna give little teasers like they did for this recent league, and then you just jump in and people are like blind to it and you just kind of go at it. I think that would be really fun. That's kind of that's the thing they do with Deadman modes nowadays. Like I'm not interested in playing Deadman modes, but I still enjoy watching it here and there when they just try to shake things up enough so it doesn't ever feel stale. So that's
yeah.
important.
Maybe there wasn't enough interaction with King of the Skill or something. Otherwise, I imagine they would have done another one. Or maybe it's just like too much development time to make the service. Who knows?
It's probably just not as popular. That's gotta kind of be it.
Yeah,
And now they've found something that's really, really popular and seems like it'll be very popular for years to come. So there's
yeah.
not
They
really
found the
much
sweet spot
incentive.
with leagues. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Although I will say, leagues probably take so much goddamn development time. Like that,
I bet. Yeah,
God, I'm just like looking at this game mode and like there's bugs. Don't get me wrong, but that's expected. Like this, you've completely revolutionized the game, and there's so many
yeah,
different paths you can make, and you kind of got to balance it somewhat.
yeah. Not
And
not only does the development time take a really long time, but I imagine they must spend a lot of time with the balancing as well. Yeah,
yeah, it's
especially for the league point, competitiveness of it.
totally. I mean, just coding in all the tasks you can possibly do is just absurd. Like that workload alone is just nuts. Just getting all that, coded in and then the restriction of areas and trying to, like the clue scrolls was a huge thing as well because they made it so, clue scrolls are restricted to your areas. So I can't even imagine the coding with just like what are the devs that are going into every combination of areas that you could possibly have and then making it so you can't have clue scroll steps that don't qualify in your areas, including like emote steps that involve certain items that aren't like that's insane. That's just like so much work, and somehow they do
Yeah.
it. So yeah.
maybe that's something you can look at in the near future. Get one of the league's devs on the cast
I
and
know. I really
have
want
it have
to.
it
I want to
have a
talk to them about
deep
that because,
dive.
yeah,
Yeah,
for sure. It's crazy how much they've done. This league especially, they went like above and beyond with it. So it makes sense to. I guess we'll briefly talk about Forestry as well. Just I think part of the reason they just never had the betas going on is because they really wanted to get it into leagues, you know. So
yeah,
I think leagues was a big factor in them not having the betas and just other updates really being pushed out as quickly as possible just to get them involved in leagues as soon as possible. So,
yeah.
what are your thoughts
I
on
mean,
Forestry, by the way?
uh, I'm not a fan of it. It might be another one of those worst updates alongside the worldy altar. I mean, I have interacted with it. I did it just enough to get the log basket. So when I'm chopping redwoods, I can AFK that for a bit longer. Um, yeah, I first off tried to do some bank scaling and then teleport in when a event was announced in a friends chat, and maybe I was doing it wrong, but I arrived and like the event was like nearly finished, or I was too late to gain much for reward. So I ended up just AFKing magic trees pretty much for about 4 or 5 hours while I did the events that spawned and got the anima, which I guess wasn't very efficient at all. But yeah, maybe I need to refine my strategy on that one.
So,
But
what are there like specific things you don't enjoy about it?
yeah, so it's kind of totally reworked the whole woodcutting skill really. Like I'm not really a fan of the static timers on the trees, but obviously I'm gonna use them now they're there. Like now you can get a guaranteed 4.5 minute AFK on a redwood tree. That's pretty strong because you can go away, do something, come back after the 4.5 minutes, and just restart the action. I mean, a lot of the activities, like a lot of AFK activities in game, are like that. Like where you have like a static timer, like Bale or Garam ones, where you can kind of AFK for so long and know when to come back. But then there are activities like barb fishing where you can go AFK and it's not a static time and you might end up coming back and you've been, idling the whole time. But Redwood used to be something like that where it was, you could come back to be idling the whole time, but now you know that as long as you clicked on a fresh tree, you're going to be there chopping for 4.5 minutes, which I think is a bit kind of busted in my opinion, but
See, I
that's how
actually
it
think that
is.
was one of the good things about it because I'm actually, even though yes, it's a straight up buff. Um,
Yeah.
I actually generally like consistency. I think the annoyances, especially like, and I have barely done any Zaya rune crafting, but that style of um, game loop where like you're mining the dense essence and at any point it can just fucking go away. Like there's no visual. Like, it would almost be different if you could kind of tell when the bark is getting low, and so you have some sort of visual or some sort of thing that's like, okay, this is depleting faster, and then you could have like a diverse timer that's maybe it's 30 seconds, maybe it's 5 minutes, but there's a visual that's kind of telling you how long this is going to be. But when it's literally just completely random, I actually end up thinking that's more of an annoyance than a nice feature that's, and again, it's like it is a straight up buff,
Yeah.
but I actually think that's the way to go for AFK, quote unquote AFK skilling, is to just make it consistent somewhat, but don't make it go above like a 5 minute thing. I think keeping it in a, 1 to
Yeah.
4 minutes is appropriate.
But personally, I think if you're doing an AFK activity, it should just be like lower effort, but you should still have to pay attention and know like when you need to click again and be ready to click again. Uh, like
What are your thoughts on Karambwa on fishing? Like, do you think that's appropriate? Like when it was first released? I mean, obviously it's been in the game for for ages. But
Oh, the way it works now, it's a bug, right? How the fishing spot just won't move after it moves to the the fixed location.
yeah, I think that was discovered like that. Yeah, there was this that wasn't meant to be.
Um, I'm not sure how I feel about it. I've not used it too much. Uh, I guess now that the redwood thing is in the game, like now there is like a static timer on other AFKs, and it's not too bad having multiple AFK static timers. Uh, yeah, I think it would have been better to keep it moving around though,
I
like
think.
how barbarian fishing works, because you can literally just go there and I guess it takes like 3 minutes to fill up the barrel.
Hmm.
So again, I'm just not a fan of these static timers that you know exactly how long you can AFK for. I mean, you could you could walk out your room and walk around the house, anything like that, and come back and know roughly how far you've progressed through the gathering activity.
It's fair. I definitely understand both points of view for sure, and they are making changes to that stuff, which I can. You're right. Like it's not classic RuneScape. Like when I think of just old school RuneScape, yeah, almost every activity things are moving. Like you can never know when your resource is going to be gone. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I think this move is not an unhealthy move that they're deciding to do. I think it's actually good, especially with the current player base that clear like we're all entering our 30s at this point. And like but we're not just stuck in college all day. So like I obviously have like a unique lifestyle where I just can play out this game all day if I wanted to, but um
Yeah.
I can understand other people's points of view where they just want to have a consistent AFK, and I don't think it's the worst thing.
Yeah, I definitely take advantage of it. Like when I go to the gym now, I'll definitely be at Redwoods, and I know roughly how long I've got before. Like I can just lock my phone or go onto a different tab or something, and know exactly how long before I need to go back and click again to keep up the chopping. So yeah, even though I'm not a fan of it, I'm definitely going to be making use of it.
Yeah, you gotta especially with your play style, you have to take advantage of everything.
Yeah. Before I had obviously I was using a crystal pickaxe in Volcanic Mine. And now that the tool seed is freed up, I've got the axe, the log basket. So beforehand, I was doing Nightmare Zone while I was in the gym, but with this static timer, it's definitely a lot easier to do something like that when out and about, out of the house.
Totally. I'm actually I'll finish up with Forestry real quick. I'm glad that they did make the announcement that they are getting rid of all the random currencies from Forestry, just the random fucking items that came from Forestry Part
Yeah,
2.
I
Thank
noticed there
God.
was a whole lot like while I was gathering my anima for the log basket. I noticed there was a whole lot of crap in my inventory that I didn't even know what it was or what
I
it was doing.
know.
I had to Google search for everything. Like, what are these feathers I'm getting?
I
And then
know.
just ended up dropping most of the stuff.
It's just like, what are you guys doing? Like, oh my God, like the whole
Yeah,
update just bothers me. It really does. Like
it,
there was good things about it, which is just being able to chop with people. I think that was cool that you're not getting punished for chopping with people, but like what the fuck is up with all these random events just nonstop spawning and there's nothing to do with wood cutting.
yeah. They just crammed as many collection log slots as they could into one bad update.
I'm so bothered by it. And the fear is that people on Reddit especially like the update. But my fear is
Yeah,
that they don't actually like the update, or they do like the update, but they would have liked any garbage that would have come out. Like you could have introduced sulfur mining and have it have random events and fucking collection logs, and people would have, and as long as it's better XP, people would have enjoyed it. That's
yeah. But then
yeah,
there's also just like engagement like metrics, right? If JGEX
yeah.
sees anyone engaging with it, they think, oh yeah, we've done good, we made a good update here.
Oh my God,
Like
that's the
I engage with the content, but it doesn't mean I liked it. I don't mean it doesn't mean I approve of it being there. And a lot of people who like the current trend seems to be collection log like focused gameplay. I mean, a lot of these people are going to be doing that as well, but I'm sure they don't want to be doing it.
That's exactly what it is. I mean, it's the same thing with Giants Foundry. I see no. There's very, very little that Giants Foundry offers that's actually good quality gameplay. And it comes out, and of course, within 5 hours, you've unlocked 10 collection logs or whatever the hell. So people just,
Yeah.
participate in the first bit, like, ooh, I'm getting that dopamine of getting a collection log. This wasn't so bad. I got 10 new collection logs or whatever the hell it gives. And it's like, bruh, like, if there was no, if the XP was halved, let's imagine. Well, first of all, the XP is just busted. So you, as an Iron Man, you almost feel obligated to do Giants Foundry. If you're just looking to maximize the bars you have, it's so good.
It's definitely good if you're poor as well. Like if you haven't got the money for Blast Furnace.
It's really busted. So there is that kind of feeling of, and if you don't like shopscaping, if you don't want to do all
Shop
that.
hopping. Yeah.
But at the same time, like, so if it didn't have that perk and it didn't have collection logs, like, I don't feel like anybody would have enjoyed that. But because it's kind of, it's hidden almost. It's like you're getting all these things that are masking what the actual product is. And when you do Giants Foundry for longer than the collection logs are offered, it's just like, what is this? Like, this is the worst. I personally hate that. I know it's subjective. It's a subjective take, and I've talked about it for a long time. But it's just one of those things where, like, people will say they enjoy it because they don't know how much better it could have been, and they would have enjoyed anything as long as it has collection logs and some super busted XP rate to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to also just ask, like, what is your lifestyle like as a 200 mil all mindset player? I mean, you mentioned you go to the gym. What does, like, your average day look like when you're gaming?
So yeah, when I'm gaming, I don't have many like when I'm at home, I don't have many responsibilities, so most of my day is freed up. Uh, yeah, I go to the gym, I eat well. That's what I focus on really. Uh, so I consider myself to be healthy, but then I also play a lot of hours, um, and then to kind of, well, I say balance it, but it's kind of like the polar opposite. When I'm working, I'm basically like never playing. I don't have the opportunity to play, so I'll be traveling and working, and yeah, kind of it's good to like have a break, I suppose, from the grinding.
If you
Like
don't mind me
if you look at
asking.
my
Oh yeah, go for it. I was gonna ask
if
where do
you
you
look if
work,
you
but yeah, you finish your thought.
yeah if you look at my account progress, you'll see there's a lot of times where I've got short periods of like high XP or EHP gain, and then a lots of flat lines. So it's definitely not because I'm burnt out or anything. It's just natural fluctuations with my lifestyle. Um, my work, I am a freelance poker dealer, so I travel around the UK and Europe dealing different festivals and tours for poker companies.
Damn. Do you enjoy
Yeah,
that? How long have you been doing that?
yeah, I really enjoy it. It's great to get the opportunity to travel, and you meet lots of interesting people. And
Definitely interesting for sure.
yeah, I've been doing it for the past almost 7 years now. So before then, I was working in a casino as a poker dealer, and then left, and I've been freelance since that time.
Do you still enjoy it after seven? Like, do you enjoy it more than when you first started? Is that like because you do have to travel a lot. Is that something you like?
Yeah, yeah, I do enjoy traveling,
Okay.
and then even like around some events, I might go and travel somewhere else. Like for example, earlier this year, I had the opportunity to go and deal in the Bahamas, and around that, I made some plans to stop around the US. So
Damn.
yeah, it's good that it gives you the opportunity to travel, and then to further that with you can extend your trip in one location or maybe bounce to another location.
So, as a poker dealer, you get tipped, right, from some of the players sometimes, or is this more like a? I'm just expecting. I guess I'm thinking of like a casino. I guess if they're like actual tournaments, there's not that kind of expectation. Have you gotten any like crazy experiences with people? And I don't know. I don't even really understand the lifestyle hardly, but like, do you have any interesting stories in the past 7 years of just doing that?
I don't have any wild stories. Yeah, you definitely get tips. Like that can make up a quite a large portion of your pay sometimes. Uh, a lot of the time, it's kind of you get some kind of hourly rate provided by the company you're working for, or some kind of wage made up by prize pool deductions. So yeah, the pay is good, the pay is fair, all happy with that, and tips are always nice, but not not expected or not mandatory by any means.
Have you ever had any like mess ups when it comes to dealing?
Usually most of the mess ups you make can be like fixed. Like yeah, I've messed up a few times, but nothing significant or nothing that somebody's been
Like
super
cheated
upset
at it?
about.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's always like usually there's some fair way of correcting a mistake.
How did you even get into this?
So about 10.5 years ago, my father introduced me to the game, and I got quite interested with it and studied it a bit. Read some books and played a lot. And then when I went to university, I was playing it a lot more, playing in the local society games and in the casinos around right where I live. And figured university wasn't for me. That didn't last very long. And then I needed some way to make money and figured because poker was an interest and hobby of mine, I'd try out dealing.
So
And it
what does
stuck
it
with me.
take
I've
to
been doing it
become
since.
what does it take to become like a dealer? Is there like a certain um, expectations? Do you have to get like really good at it? Like how does it, what decides, if you can be a dealer or
Uh,
not?
the stuff I do now, so I do a lot of work with poker stars. They do like a big tour across Europe, and they have like pretty high standards for their dealers, and it's pretty hard to get in. But they so yeah, you need to have a really good understanding of the game, of the rules of the game, and also just having a lot of experience is kind of the main thing, really. Like having a lot of practice in what you do, and maybe experiencing a lot of situations and knowing how to react to those.
Interesting. That's really cool. That's a cool lifestyle. I've never heard of any. I've never met a person that was or like a friend that was a poker dealer. That's pretty cool. Have you?
Yeah.
Is there any other like windows of opportunity with that kind of like career path, like that you look forward to, or is this just something you can see yourself doing for the long haul?
Um, well, so far I'm enjoying what I'm doing and happy with what I'm doing. The career progression, I suppose, would be moving from a dealer to uh, like a floor person. So, spectating what's going on and basically like running tournaments or running, cash games, depending on what's going on wherever you're dealing. So you'd be, supervising basically the tables, and if any disputes came up, then you'd be, called in to make a decision on what would happen. So I've done a bit of that stuff, but not too much. So maybe eventually I'll move up into that. But
Is that something you would
the
like to
time,
do more than being a dealer? Do you think it's like? I mean, it's probably higher pay, but would that be more interesting to you, or is being a dealer like more fun?
yeah, I think well, it'd probably be a lot harder work, yeah, because obviously, being a dealer, you're just sat down all day. You get, you don't have to. It's not too physically exerting, and you get plenty of breaks. When you running the show, it gets a bit more demanding, and obviously you're always on your feet all the time. So It's a bit more, and obviously you've got more responsibility on you. But yeah, I would enjoy doing something like that as well, and just as much, I think.
Interesting.
There are some other paths you could take probably in the industry where maybe you wouldn't be so customer facing, like you could, or maybe just like not involved in the poker side of things too much, like maybe handling the cash or registrations and this kind of thing. So yeah, it's different routes you can go, but for the most part, the majority of people working in this job are dealers, just because the the uh, the number of poker tables that need filling is a lot more than the staff that are needed to observe these tables or to to fill the other areas of what goes into making a poker event.
That's cool. Okay, so kind of transitioning back to RuneScape, I want to ask you, like, what are your goals for this account now that you don't have 200 mil mining yet, but you have completed your
No.
long-term goal of VM. What are you working on right now? And yeah, that's the first question I have for you.
So in the time since I've finished that, I kind of did some like prep work for Slayer. So I I mined all the topaz I need. So I did 3 tick mining. That was interesting, a new experience. Uh, yeah, I don't think I would have been able to do that all the way to 200 mil. Like I was making a lot of mistakes at the start, but kind of got into more of a flow of it as I progressed. Like I did like 25 hours of it to get all the gems I need. So it was definitely an interesting experience, but pretty glad I did Volcanic mine for all of that XP. I also had to kill some Zora just to stock up on scales. And yeah, for the past week or so, I've been slaying, pretty much just slaying. And yeah, for the foreseeable future, it's going to be like jumping between Slayer and runecrafting. So Slayer when I need to get herb seeds, and then runecrafting when I need to top up my runes to, go back to Slayer. So it's just going to be bouncing between the two, I think, for a long, long time because these skills take thousands of hours to complete. Slayer and runecrafting definitely aren't fast skills.
And rune crafting, you're doing day alt ZMI?
Yeah, so I have like millions of day already banked just from like mobile time. Like when I go and cook, or if I'm maybe with family or something, or just have the phone up on the side and
Mm-hmm.
AFK the stuff. It's like pretty low intensity and yeah. So
When are we getting a teleport directly to the day alt mine? Would you be in favor of that, or is that too busted?
I don't think that'd be busted. I guess
Oh,
it could be useful for UIM if somehow they were able to get the essence, like because they can't use the essence at the moment, right? Because it's
yep.
converted to
It's
like
sent to your bank.
sent to the bank. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it'd be broken. I mean, at the moment, I just use the Sepulchre teleport crystal, and it's like a 20-second run or something.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Um,
Just I'd rather just be there though. Makes it a little bit more enticing to do it because I haven't mined day alt now for like at least 8 months. That used to
yeah,
be my default kind of like AFK, but it's something about just that inconvenience of that small run. I know it's like not that big of a deal, but it's just something that I think it's like a mental block. Like I'd rather do something at the bank instead.
yeah. Maybe when they eventually continue the quest line in the vampire area, maybe they'll put something in for you then.
True. And fucking fix that master clue step up there on the wall. Like the fact that you can't just climb up there directly already is just stupid. The third iteration of that quest definitely needs to have some
Ah,
way
yeah,
of getting up there
but
quickly.
that's on the wall around the castle, right?
Yeah. And it's
Yeah,
just
I can
absurd.
imagine. I can imagine the next part of the quest would involve the castle, so I could imagine there's going to be an easier way to get to the clue step.
Yeah, just have to wait a few more years.
Yeah,
Um,
if it ever comes.
so why do you choose? Is there a particular reason why you enjoy kind of doing just a couple skills at once? Is that just how you've always enjoyed going for 200 mils?
Um, Yeah, I like seeing consistent progress in one skill rather than bouncing around. I'm not really sure why. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have much of an answer for that one.
Interesting.
I
But I
just
mean,
like this.
I was just gonna say, like, it looks like you still do, I mean, just according to the skills you have. I mean, yeah, like there's some that are still pre 20 mil, but it looks like I don't know, like, well, I guess Hunter's probably all through birdhouses, right?
Yeah, there's some other stuff that just kind of passively gets done, or maybe I've got to do a bit of that to help with something else, this kind of thing.
I see. But for the most part, you like just to focus on one skill or
Yeah,
two.
for the most part.
Yeah. Interesting. So what this is going to take thousands of hours, but what do you think is next? And what do you think would be your last skill you'd want if we just subtract new skills being added to the game like sailing and other things?
I hadn't even thought that far ahead.
What
Last
what
skill,
what
no
skill do you
idea.
hate the most? Let me ask that.
Uh, well, I don't think thieving is a good skill. Like, obviously, my experience is really high. I don't think I don't think it's a good skill though. Like, how you can just train it by foot pedaling or like with the squirt thing as well. I guess I've not even like seen it or tried it, but I can imagine from doing the summer garden thing years ago, it's going to be pretty AFK.
Yeah, it's
So
it's
yeah,
AFK.
and also like fire making is kind of doesn't serve much purpose, and the XP rates are super high. And,
Oh, have you done any is bonfires even like anything for efficient Iron Man? Like I
uh,
actually haven't done any of it. I don't actually.
I don't think so. I can imagine there are much better things to AFK.
Okay.
Like the XP rates are so low, right, from burning the logs.
Yeah. It's like, is it a
Uh,
third XP? Is that what it is, or like half, or something like
I
that?
think it's like a third, yeah.
Okay. And
And
I actually
maybe
haven't
it's
done it.
slower.
Is it every four ticks? Do you know, or is it slower than that?
I, I think it's 4 tick, but I'm not sure.
Maybe it's four tick and half the XP then, or something like that. Yeah, something.
So which skill am I going to finish last is a interesting question. Maybe the gatherers, maybe like wood cutting or fishing, because these are going to be the ones that I'm going to be doing like long term, like zero time as much as I can, probably doing either
Mhm.
redwoods or uh, 5 tick barbarian fishing. So I can imagine those would be some of the last ones if I ever got there, the last ones to be finished.
So this is kind of an odd question. I don't know if you've thought about this, but maybe you have. What would you imagine theoretically, if you get to 200 mil all, what rank do you think you will have achieved if you consistently play as you are right now? Have you
As
ever
a
thought about that?
hardcore,
Yeah, as a hardcore, assuming you don't die.
I think probably somewhere around fourth or fifth would be achievable.
Okay. Do you
I
think
think.
who do you think would be above you? Just the people that are already one, two, and three, and four,
Uh,
potentially.
yeah. So obviously, fifth Hakurai Menlol would be. He's going to be number one. There's kind of no question about that now,
Yeah,
unless
unless he
something
dies or
happens and he
something.
dies.
Yeah.
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 Um, yeah. Farmer looks like he's going to finish. But actually, now I think about it, the ones below him, like I would have thought, I'd probably like if obviously it's a long time still to go, but Lydia Kenny hasn't been playing much this last year. I mean, they're
Is there
over halfway
anyone
there, right? But
is there anyone below them do you think that has a shot or that is motivated to go for 200 mil all, or really nobody that's going to play more than you?
um, Tyler, he's kind of been going hard. Like he's started playing around the same time I did, and he's ranked 12 at the moment. He's been doing well. I don't think he's been progressing so much recently, but he could get up there. And who knows? Maybe there's some players who haven't even started playing yet who are gonna, or maybe aren't even on the radar yet, who are
Some
gonna,
Rodney
pass
Farva
us.
character
And
that comes out of nowhere. Yeah.
could be. I mean, it'd be kind of strange to see this late into the game mode, but could definitely happen.
Would you be interested if they came out with a new permanent game mode? I don't know what it would be. Would you be interested in playing that?
Uh, I think well, as I already said, I don't like alting, so really I don't really like playing multiple accounts at once. So who knows? Maybe I would do something super AFK on a new game mode that could maybe benefit me if I wanted to, you know, go crazy on it some other time. But it definitely wouldn't be a focus. I think I would want to continue progressing the Arc Ironman. Like that is like I'd be deviating from the long term goal I'd set for myself if I did that.
I see. Cool.
I'm fairly committed to this
Yeah, no,
to this one account. Yeah.
that's cool. I mean, I'm very committed to my own account as well. Just overall play style. By the way, I know this is even longer than asking like what the last skill you would do, but like, do you have any motivation for PVMing or collection logging or clue scroll hunting or any of that?
Not
Like,
really, because if I was trying to maintain, the status, then there would be some serious like bottlenecks in progressing with that. I think if I was to do that, I would do it on another account, a separate account, maybe sometime. Like if I still wanted to play after 200 mil all, and if I reached that, then maybe I would play a different iron account and go for those kind of goals. But who knows? The state of the game could be very different,
that's true.
at that point in time.
Yeah. I mean, I guess my real question was just like if you're even interested in that. Like, so you can actually see yourself being interested in collection logging, but just not
I'm
right now because you already
interested
have your
in
goal.
I'm interested in following other people's adventures with that, but not so interested personally now.
Okay. You know what's
Like
a
I
sorry, I just interrupted. I was just gonna say, hey Jace, I think is one of those players that just fascinates me because like beyond getting 200 mil all, now he's like actively doing collection logging, and it seems odd for a skiller to get so into collection logging in a sense. I guess he is really just a completionist player in a sense, but I don't know.
yeah, I have been watching him a lot the past year or so, and yeah, it's impressive his dedication to that grind. Like how much time he spends on stream doing all the completionist content, and then also like all the time he must spend off stream
Yeah,
preparing like caskets and all this kind of stuff.
tons and tons of time. Yeah, he's very super super long term player that's just been hella consistent. I was
Yeah.
I don't know if you know, and I don't really know particularly. I don't think Iron Higer's playing that much. He's actually dominating on leagues right now. He's top 10 in leagues, which is I always find fascinating. I would fucking love it if Iron Higer got rank 1 leagues and league points, but I was hoping that he would become like super super collection log Iron Man focused in a selfish sense. Like I would have loved that kind of sort of like I'm not really competing, but I would love to have seen the competition, like how far Iron Higer can take his account. But it doesn't look like he plays as much anymore. I don't know if you know any differently.
I do kind of check up on it sometimes. Like he was making some progress on the collection log website with the with stuff, but I don't think I don't know. I don't think he's gone as hard as it as with it as he did with the 200 mil log grind.
Yeah,
Like I don't know much about him at all like anymore. Like as soon as he hit 200 mil all, the first thing he did was leave the clan, pretty much leave Olympus.
really.
Yeah.
So I was already gone by then. But so why was that? Just done with
No
his
idea.
skilling arc. Just like I'm out of
I
here,
guess so.
dude.
Yeah.
He was such a big contributor to all of that, like the spreadsheets and the EHP
Yeah.
stuff and just everything. That's crazy.
Yeah.
He's
That
fascinating. Like
was
I always think those like mysterious players are very fascinating. Like Lynx Titan as well. Just like, who are you, dude? Just fucking beat everyone and then just dip. Just like, nah, like, fuck you guys. No closure. Just I'm the best.
yeah. It'll be interesting to see how Iron Man metas like evolve now that he's not there. Because like obviously he was like mathing out all the finer details of everything.
Yeah, he
Um,
went crazy.
yeah, I know that Pappy has, made a new edit to his EHP spreadsheets with like latest rates and some other stuff. So at least somebody's like picking up that torch and carrying it on, which is good to see.
That's cool. What do you have any plans on streaming consistently, or is that just not something
Nah,
on the table?
nah. Not really interested with that. No. I mean, back
Okay.
in 2017, I was streaming a lot, and that was while I was raiding a lot as well. And I feel like with the raiding, I was focusing on that a lot more than I was like on the whole, you know, running a stream and talking to people and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
And I feel like when you're just skilling, it's kind of like you kind of need something. I know you need more mental stimulation. You can't just
you can't just sit
do the
there.
skilling.
It's
Is yeah.
yeah, for sure.
I would want to watch a stream or be listening to music or doing something other than focusing on waiting for someone to speak in chat. And yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair.
I didn't find it too entertaining.
Do you have a YouTube? Do you like? Have you ever thought of like making progress series?
No, no interest in that really. I mean, there's not really much progress I'm making, I suppose, especially when you're just slogging out one skill at a time
But that's the
and you
beauty.
need progress. Yeah,
You could be like Zulo and just upload like every 2 years when you get a new 200 mil. Just here you
yeah. I
go.
guess I guess if anyone wants to follow the progress, they just fire up Temple and
That's
have a
true.
look at
That's true.
recent progress. Yeah.
That's cool. So you're just truly dedicated gamer. I respect it. Nothing more to it than just the grind for the grind.
Well,
Um,
thanks.
yeah. No, I always love these like skiller casts because I don't get them often. I've been definitely focused on more content creators being on the cast and other
Yeah.
people, PVMers and stuff. But the occasional skilling cast I get always gives me that kind of like throwback vibes because I can understand the skilling side of the game
Yeah.
where some people just literally cannot understand why anybody would want to skill, but I can see the enjoyment, so I always appreciate it. Um, okay, I we'll kind of wrap things up, but I want to ask you for three shout outs, maybe players in the community or any content creators or whatnot. Uh, yeah,
Okay. You put me on the spot a bit
yeah,
there.
I did, I did.
I don't know really. Let's give a shout out to Fat Clouds. I don't know. He hasn't played
Fuck yeah, I'll type
lately,
a one
but
for that. I'll type a one for that.
he was always motivating to watch, and hope he's doing well. Uh, let's give a shout out to Dave, Uncle Dave. Who else should we go with? Uh, let's give a shout out to the Master, as I kind of threw some dirt on him with the C-Fix thing earlier, the C-Fix video. But he does a great job for the VM Discord, and respect to him.
Hell yeah. Okay, Adam, thank you for coming on today. This is actually like really enjoyable for me. I'm glad we could fit you in, and glad we could talk some RuneScape. I wish you the best of luck on your grinds. Is there any outlet do you want me to like link your Twitter and
Yeah,
I guess you don't really stream often, but would you want your Twitch link just in case, or just your Twitter?
nah, there's no point of the Twitch, and even
Okay.
even Twitter. I'm not updating that often, but yeah, you can include that.
Okay, perfect. Um, thank you
Yeah,
again. For those still listening, if you guys want to support the cast, down in the description, there's a Patreon link as well as a YouTube membership link where you can pledge for $2 a month for support, and also go follow OneFalseStep. He's not active, but you can at least know where he is and what he's doing on his Twitter potentially. And thank you
maybe.
again. I
Yeah, thanks for
appreciate your
having me.
time.
Glad you enjoyed it. You're
Awesome.
welcome.
Thank you guys for listening, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.